Brett already? Off to a rocking and firing start. This is great.
Well, that's too bad.
This is fantastic. We'll get him back here in a second. But first out of our show, brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Gives me time to set the table. We'll get Brett on in just a moment. A lot to get to today. We'll get to top and not top at the bottom of this segment. 3:30, bring on Alex Kuhn, my brother from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Have a lot to get to with him today, including what I would sort of term as another chapter in the Commanders, the Washington football team, the Redskins, just ridiculous track record with the financial laws that are being broken that Congress talked about yesterday. We will discuss that with him as well as some quarterback news. Baker Mayfield has sounded off on his situation with the Browns, and also Derek Carr gets a ridiculous extension. 4 o'clock, second time this year. John Goen joins us from Timber Trust Golf. We have some golf talk and picks to get to. I will say, Brian, it looks like me and you had a bad week. So you're leading off the picks today. I'm second, John's third, and Brett is fourth because Brett actually won last week. Cam Smith, I know he struggled down the stretch of the Masters, but Cam Smith hung on enough to let Brett be the leader this week. 5 o'clock for the first time since we've been in this time slot, since Brett and I have been together. A good friend of mine, Colin Ward-Hinninger from CBS Sports, joins us to talk some NBA. And Colin has done a good job. He's really out there on the left coast, primarily covers the Warriors very closely, but obviously he's a national guy. But we have the Western Conference to discuss with him and how the playoffs may shake out. But last night, 7 seeds in the NBA playoffs are now set. Nets in the East and the upstart Timberwolves in the West, who the Grizzlies will be playing. There's plenty to get to there. We give you our breakdown of the Timberwolves and what to look for in the series ahead. Game 1 will be at FedEx Forum, 2:30 on Saturday. The play-in tournament rolls on tonight with the Hawks and Hornets playing for their chance at the Cavs, and the Spurs and Pelicans playing for their chance at the Clippers. The end goal, as you know, is the 8th seed. They'll figure that out tonight. There was a bunch of headlines last night in the MLB. We had Alyssa Nakken for the Giants. Mm-hmm. That makes some history. As the first female on-field coach, she filled in for the first base coach after an ejection. In the ejection, there was some things going on there. Mike Schilt, former manager for the Cardinals, skipper for the Cardinals, was part of that. I know there's been some shaking hands. There's been some sorries exchanged, but we'll get to that as well. Also, Albert Pujols hits his first bomb since his return to St. Louis with the Cardinals, number 680. And I got to say, I grew up listening to Danny Mac, Dan McLaughlin on Fox Sports and then Bally Sports, what it is now. But hearing him make that call was beautiful, man. Now we need 20 more. We need 20 more for Albert. We need to get him to 700 before he's all done with this thing. And finally, mentioned it just a little bit ago, we have a lot of quarterback news to discuss out of the NFL. Derek Carr gets generational money. 3 years, $121.5 million for Derek Carr. And also Baker Mayfield makes comments on his feelings toward the Browns organization while he awaits a new start after the Sean Watson news broke last month. Finally, there's some DeAndre Williams news to discuss on the Tiger basketball front. Not great news, but we will break that down later in the show. AutoZone listen line, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. You can message us there. You can also message us on our socials, Sports56WHBQ on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at Sports56WHBQ.com. Looks like we have my partner, Brett Norsworthy. Brett, how are you?
Good. Really bad weather blowing through. Everybody be safe and be conscious of it and keep your eye on the TV stations and all the places to get weather. We'll give it to you as we get it. But you're right, it was great last night at Busch Stadium, and it was going to be great at Target Field for a long time today until after 80 pitches, Clayton Kershaw had to be removed from the game.
What's that perfect?
He was rolling too.
Game through 80 pitches.
There was only one ball. I watched almost every pitch of it. There was only one ball really hit hard, and it was stroked and barely glanced off the top of the mound, but they had it positioned perfectly. Old traditional defensive alignment, it would have gone through, cleanly over the second base bag for a hit to the center fielder, but they had it positioned perfectly, got him out routinely. Kershaw on a 36-degree day in Minneapolis wasn't even sweating.
Do we have a final in that game though? 7-0, right? That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
7-0.
Yeah,
what?
the Dodgers tacked on, and they were in charge most of the game, up 3-0, and then had back-to-back homers to make it 6-0, and then Dave Roberts pulls him.
I know that you're supposed to be on a pitch count early in the season, but if you're throwing a perfect game, keep
80?
him in there. I want to know, and they're
What
going to
was
ask
his pitch
him,
count, 82?
They're certainly going to ask him after the game in the presser, but I want to know what Clayton Kershaw has to say about this. I wonder if he'll take the political
He was
approach.
fine about it.
Really? I mean, I saw him giving high fives there, but I don't know. There's pride with some of those guys, and he's an older guy. I mean, this is probably one of his best chances to go get a perfect game, and he got subbed out, got taken out.
You know, if it was just in a no-hitter and he was around 100 pitches with 2 innings to go, okay, you know, April 13th, 36-degree weather, outdoors in Minneapolis. If it was a perfect game and he's around 100 pitches, 36-degree day, April 13th, outdoors in Minneapolis, okay. But 80 pitches and just rolling. They could not touch anything he was throwing up there at him. He had everything working, too. And he's the 5th starter for the Dodgers. You want to be scared of the Dodgers, that's what you should be scared of.
I got to admit also, after last night watching Albert hit that bomb, I feel corny as hell because I really did get chills watching the call, hearing the call from Danny Mack, Dan McLaughlin. That was something. That was something.
There's nothing wrong with corny, Gabe. I've lived a corny life for 60 years.
I didn't think I'd be like emotional about it. I was. I mean, I
knew I would be, and I was, and it was great. And I was watching it live, and I was texting both of y'all, rubbing it in on the Nolan Arenado fan duel dinger that I called, and I got the thumbs working, and then Pujols hit the home run. I go crazy, and I think I sent it in to y'all, rubbing it in on the
you did.
Nolan Arenado.
Yeah,
home
well,
run.
you said hashtag humble brag. Even though,
we
knew it wasn't humble.
Yeah. But
it's never humble if you hashtag a humble brag.
Exactly.
It felt like, I feel like brag in itself, like that term keeps the humble. Like that's not humble. If you're bragging, you're not being humble.
It's almost impossible. There's no humility in being a blowhard, is it?
None.
But that felt like a throwback to my childhood right there. Like that's what that felt like. Watching the Cardinals growing up, the 2 World Series titles with Albert there, seeing that ball travel out to left field the way it did, I saw so many bombs he hit that same exact way.
Were you there the night that he knocked out
awesome.
the eye in Big Mac Land?
I was not
Were
there.
you there that night?
I wasn't there. I was watching.
I was. My nephew Turner and I were there, and we were sitting in the front row of the upper deck, which was a great view, kind of down left field line. And off the bat, we were charting it, it was right in front of us, it felt like. It felt like we could have reached out and touched it. And then when he knocked out the light, we go crazy. That was against the Cubs. And I don't know what his most famous home run was. Brian, help me with this. I know that was his first regular season Cardinals home run since September 22nd, 2011. But I think that was his first Cardinal home run since the night he went for 3 in the World Series game down in Arlington against the Rangers in Game 4 of the 2011 World Series.
Give me a second. I will look into that.
You got it. I'm sorry for throwing that at you. You're good.
The Albert,
I was trying to get connected and everything.
I appreciate it, but I think you're right.
I've referred to this a few times in the past, but the most memorable home run ever, Albert Pujols in a Cardinals uniform, was the one off Brad Lidge in the NLCS, where he hit it over the train tracks. Brad Lidge was
the Astros
never
did
the
come
same.
back and win the next game and go to the World Series.
I understand
but
that.
Lidge was never
I
the same.
understand that, but Lidge never got to that All-Star form ever again after that.
He had the big home run off of Kerry Wood at Wrigley after Kerry Wood had knocked him down on the 4th of July. This a legendary Mike Shannon call. But for me as a Cardinal fan, he never let me down. I mean, it was just like sticking a quarter in the jukebox. Go to St. Louis and Pujols was going to do something great. But my favorite Pujols day, and I was there at Wrigley summer of 05. Cardinals down 8-2, came back, win the game 11-8. He goes 5 for 5 with 3 homers and just missed on a 4th homer. I mean, I thought the basket and Wrigley was going to catch it, and it kind of scraped the ivy. It was just a classic day for him and for the Cardinals. And, of course, La Russa and Dusty Baker were going at it.
Based on the at-bats I've seen from Albert, it's still there. I mean, he can still hit. We know he's just a natural
against
hitter.
lefties for sure.
I think, grand scheme of things, he'll be helpful. He'll be very helpful for the Cardinals this year against lefties.
He sure will be, and he'll be very helpful at the old turnstile. 40,000 last night at Busch Stadium. I think it was pretty close to that, and he will help in ticket sales for sure. And now 20 away from 700. He's only about 20 hits away from moving into the all-time top 10 for most hits in the history of the game. And apropos of that, today Pete Rose, so in 1963, on this date, his first big league hit on his way to the all-time mark. And, of course, with Pete Rose, that was a head slide into third with a triple.
Albert Pujols, the best right-handed hitter of all time. Is that fair?
I think it is, but I think Alex Rodriguez deserves to be in the discussion.
Yeah, I understand that. Statistically, where did Alex Rodriguez end with the home runs, and also Martin controversy because of PEDs?
He's ahead of Albert in everything: home runs, hits, and Willie Mays certainly in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, understood. Now last night,
but I'm with you. I like the way you think.
Yeah, come on. Last night, the big sporting event going on, the events going on, the play-in. First game, not too much to see there. I thought the Cavs fought. The Cavs ended up covering.
I thought a pretty good game, pretty plucky game.
But the Nets win 115.
I didn't get there on my straight up, but I got there on plus the points. It was valiant.
Kyrie Irving is the pacer. KD is one of the best closers in the game. I mean, if not the best closer in the game. He's unreal in the mid-range when it really matters. Also, in that game, Bruce Brown, I love Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown made me a fan out of him. It made me a fan last night. He's sort of in the way and out of the way at the exact same time. He had a bunch of assists last night. But I
loved your tweet last night. I read it. I thought, man, it's pretty deep.
Yeah, but he definitely had 16 points. He's up over 8 assists. He figured it out last night. He was good. But the big one, Timberwolves beat the Clippers 109-104. The reffing, I thought, was awful the entire game. I really did. Scott Foster was part of the crew, so that makes a whole lot of sense. But it leads the series. Grizzlies play the Timberwolves
show every time.
Grizzlies play the Timberwolves coming up soon here on Saturday.
They do, and already, the volleys are the verbal volleys and exchanges their own, and it'll be settled on the court. And
where we at
Saturday be rocking.
Where are we at on the celebration with Timberwolves act? I mean, you have Pat Bev on top of a.
I'm all for it.
He's on the scorer's
for the love
table,
of the game,
throwing his jersey up into the crowd. He's crying,
I'm
off
torn,
the court.
Gabe. I do think victory should be celebrated. You know as much as anybody, and especially in your sport, that you get limited kind of at bats. I'm for it, but. Somebody tell the T-Wolves, you don't have a parade after a play-in.
You know what? I understand they haven't been there. So, I'm fine with them celebrating. And also, you have, Karl Anthony Towns in the corner hugging up on his girlfriend, Jordan Woods, like it's the end of love and basketball or something. It's ridiculous. But
LVE Day was celebrated last.
I was fine with them celebrating the way they did, although it kind of feels like, and Pat Beverly said it after the game, this is the icing on the cake. This is the cherry on top. Well, I thought the work starts now. I thought you get through the play-in. I thought you have to actually start winning in the playoffs after that.
They've won 2 playoff series ever. Got to the Western Conference Finals at 03-04. They're about 500 games under 500 all time.
I did get a kick out of the TNT crew doing a little montage after the game, having fun with it.
Moment.
That was pretty good. That was fantastic.
It was good. But the kind of me being a little bit hypocritical is I do think victory should be celebrated. They'll act like you've done it before. Well, if you really haven't, I don't know how to act.
My man Pat
and
Bev.
And the Wolves largely haven't. So it's not like telling the Celtics,
And it was different,
hey,
too.
Come on, Celtics, act like you've been there.
And
they have a bunch.
I think it's different, too, because you have Pat Bev in that locker room with all those young guys for the Timberwolves, and you're playing the Clippers, the team he feels spurned by. So some of the discussions that were had behind closed doors were very serious. They wanted that game really badly, and for Pat Bev.
He did. Everything's personal to him. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in town, and that is Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500. You'll be looking great, and you'll be driving great. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. 901-334-9673, the one and only Lexus dealership in town. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. They're ready for the playoffs. We all are. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet today for my top story. Grizzlies know who they're playing now. 2-7 matchup is set. Grizzlies versus Timberwolves. And the TNT crew, they made their picks last night. Charles Barkley was about confused as hell. He said he was going to pick the Grizzlies. He ended up going back and picking the Timberwolves. Shaq picks the Timberwolves as well. Kenny picks the Grizzlies. It is what it is. Don't get offended by anyone picking the Timberwolves. Right. But I'll tell you this. This will be a fun, up-tempo series. And it ought to be a war. Game to game. Now, I don't know what the end result will be. I have a prediction I'll give you, but game to game, I think it'll be an absolute war like it was during the year. The Timberwolves have a lot of scoring. They take and make the most threes in the entire NBA, so the Grizzlies have to control the three-point line, and they have to control Karl Anthony Towns, who is an all-star this year, and I think they can do that. You look at last night and what Ty Lue brought to the table. He showed the blueprint to controlling Cat and getting him out of his rhythm. I think that they can do that. All this being said, Grizzlies in 5.
I'm going to go Grizzlies in 6. We'll do all the series on Friday, but two teams that were both old ABA towns. They were the Muskies and the Pipers. I saw one of them. I can't remember which one they were playing under when they were there. Both on the Mississippi River. Both used to be Northwest hubs. Now they're a Delta hub. We're not. It's going to be fun. This time next year, they will be as hunted as they are hunting the Grizzlies. My top story, elimination games tonight. Last night's defeated teams are still alive, but the teams that lose tonight, they're done. Real good matchup in Atlanta, Hornets versus Hawks. And in New Orleans, a playoff play-in game with the Spurs visiting the Pelicans. Pop and the Pels in a play-in or play-out game tonight in New Orleans. Good stuff tonight.
Mm-hmm. And also, I need help with this because this is bizarre to me. This thought came to my mind yesterday. You have a team in the Timberwolves who have Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl Anthony Towns. 3 borderline all-stars, guys who can fill it up at nauseum. They're really good. They can score. And I think my biggest worry from the Grizzlies' perspective is Patrick Beverley. Somebody help me with that. That doesn't make sense. I feel goofy for even thinking that thought.
He's on our mind. Is he in our head?
We'll see.
Not top story of the day.
This has to do with the Reds ownership. And we talked about it last week with Alex Kuhn, who we're going to have next at the bottom of this hour. But Reds president Phil Castellini yesterday went on WLW radio in Cincinnati and was discussing where to go with the team and what happened this offseason, getting rid of Eugenio Suarez, all of their good pieces, Jesse Winker, all of their good pieces. And he said, well, where are you going to go? Let's start there. I mean, sell the team to who? That's the other thing. You want to have this debate. If you want to look at what you would do with this team to have it be more profitable, make more money, compete more in that current economic system that this game exists, it would be to pick it up and to move elsewhere. So be careful what you ask for. This was said on a Cincinnati radio station by the Cincinnati Reds
their home station.
President.
That's their KMOX.
By the Cincinnati Reds president to Cincinnatians, to people there who root for the team, who are fans of the team.
Big Red Machine.
There comes a time where, yes, you have to make decisions for yourself. You have to make decisions for the betterment of the long term of a certain franchise. But this doesn't feel that way. This does not feel that way. This is basically a president and an owner telling their fan base to kick rocks. I don't need you guys. You guys aren't worth it. You don't help us. That's basically.
They ought to tell him where you moving to, because there's really nowhere.
That's basically the message that he sent through the airwaves. Now, he came back later last night and said, I apologize to Reds fans and regret the comments that I made earlier today. I'll tell you, though, right now, that means nothing. That means absolutely, positively nothing. No apology takes back what you said to your fan base on your hometown airwaves. It's embarrassing.
Great take. I'm sorry that I missed that in the Reds with one of the great histories in the history of the sport, in the history of American sport. 5 World Series, 5-0. Beat the White Sox and the one the White Sox threw with Shoeless Joe in 1919. Beat the Tigers in 1940. Beat the Red Sox in a Classic in 75. Beat the Yankees in 76 and beat Oakland in 1990.
More. They deserve more. But their president's saying you guys are SOL. Too bad.
My not top story, Grizzlies' opponent will be Minnesota, and the stuff is already flying. 3 weeks ago, remember, guys, flag the tape, I said Patrick Beverly would be chief villain, and it was about the easiest prediction ever. I knew he would be if they met. Everything is personal to him. He's always angry. He's always edgy. And when you average 9 points and 4 rebounds, you got to bring something, don't you?
You sure do. He closed that game. No mistake about it. He closed that game for them last night.
He sure did.
The effort, the intensity on the defensive side.
He's their Tony Allen.
He was, they're going to have to get to a Western Conference Finals before we start doing that. He's going to have to win. Is he been a first team All NBA or All Defense guy yet? I don't think so. Not a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So let's not go that far yet. But he certainly brings the juice for them. And I think for the Grizzlies,
knockoff version of Tony Allen.
It's bizarre for the Grizzlies. They haven't needed that veteran leader. I think Patrick Beverly for the Timberwolves, he was almost necessary for that roster and that makeup to flourish. And I think he's done a good job.
He really was. I wonder if he'll take any slight over the 3 days he was a Grizzly.
I still love his tweet, grit and grind, let's go. 3 days later, gone. No more grit and grind, I guess.
Well,
yeah, that was quick.
He was
short-lived. Grizzlies great. Patrick Beverly. That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. We have to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back from said break, bring on Alex Kuhn from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. You're listening to Gabe and Stats on Sports 56 98.5.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You don't have to visit the coast for fresh seafood. Catch the coast in Memphis at the Great Hunter Crab, 8325 Highway 64 next to the Wolf Chase Mall. Great Hunter Crab is a Cajun seafood restaurant specializing in the freshest seafood. Their unique blend of spices and sauces pairs perfectly with fish, shrimp, lobster, scallops, and crabs. Not a seafood lover? Try the soup, salads, catfish, and chicken. Great Hunter Crab open Monday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and even catering. Try the signature drinks like the Lost at Sea or the Shipwreck. Visit the coast today. Great Hunter Crab, 8325 Highway 64 next to the Wolf Chase Mall.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from Titleist, featuring the new Titleist Vokey SM9 wedges, their most superior handcrafted wedge design ever. The new SM9 grooves are cut to maximize the interaction of ball and face for lower flight and higher spin. Get precise distance and trajectory control like a pro with the SM9s. Swing by Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee, and shop us online at worldwidegolfshops.com.
People always ask me, what does being a dealer for the people really mean? Does it mean the best value or the best service or the best selection? This is Colin Johnston from DeSoto Auto Sales. For the people is a simple idea. We believe everyone deserves to drive a nicer, newer car. This belief drives the entire team at DeSoto Auto Sales to care more, to try harder, and to work smarter. We're dedicated to helping you find the perfect car for your life and budget. Many people come to DeSoto Auto Sales for help. Maybe they're making payments on a car that's no longer right for them. Or maybe they owe more on their car than it's worth. Or maybe they've had credit problems in the past. Or maybe they're just nervous and want to make sure they're taken care of. No problem is too big for us. We may not be able to help everybody, but I guarantee we will try our best to help you. I'm Colin, and I'm a dealer for the people. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Give us a call at 662-890-7184 or pick out your nicer, newer car at DeSotoAutoSales.com.
Have you ever wondered what's inside your air ducts? Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. If you are one of many who suffers from bad allergies, especially in the Mid-South, and would like to improve the indoor air quality of your home, then Choate's Air Duct Cleaning could be a solution for you and your family. Air duct cleaning has been proven to help people with allergies and other respiratory issues by removing buildup of debris from your home's air supply. Air duct cleaning will also help eliminate dust from building up in your house, therefore, you don't have to dust as much either. And air duct cleaning is also shown to help improve the performance of your air conditioning and heating system. Choate's is the name you can trust for all your indoor air quality needs. So call Choate's today at 755-4797 or visit our website at choateshvac.com to schedule a free video inspection to help you breathe a little easier. And remember, Choate's, let our family serve your family.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Open the door, sit in the seat, turn the key, and go.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling on Sports Time. And very pleased to be joined by Alex Kuhn at AlexKuhn523 on Twitter from KGYM Radio.
You're going to have to bring him up. I got zapped.
Alex, what's happening, man?
Not a whole lot. How are you guys?
Man, hanging in there.
Doing well, Alex.
I've been seeing you tweet a whole lot. I know we don't talk hockey on this show a whole lot, but I see you tweet about hockey. I know
we're going to be experts in 2 weeks.
I know we're approaching the NHL playoffs when you start tweeting about the Blues a whole lot. But they've won 6 in a row, huh? They get another cup this year? Another cup run?
Look, I'm not saying that they're going to win a cup. What I am saying is that this team that they have this year is better than the team that won a cup 2 years ago. I know how this works. It doesn't always result in a championship, but for people maybe on the fringe on hockey, not fully bought in, don't have a vested interest, pick a team, grab a 6-pack, and get ready for the playoffs, because I think that the NHL has the best playoffs in all of sports.
Isn't it the most brutal playoffs, though, too? Like, to actually get through and win?
Yes. So, for example, in the Western Conference, the Blues are in the Central Division with the best team in hockey, the Colorado Avalanche, and maybe the second best team in all of hockey in the Minnesota Wild. And those are 3 of the better teams in the entire Western Conference, and they're going to take each other out the first 2 rounds, and only one of them is going to get to the conference finals. So it's a grind, but each game is 7, or each series is 7 games, and these series are going to be absolutely insane this year.
Brutal.
They will be, Alex. I'm always for St. Louis for my St. Louis friends. I'm not going to try to pretend that I'm a super big Blues fan or
hop on the
fan.
bandwagon, Brett. You're fine.
But I'm for them, for y'all, and for all my many Cardinal brethren and sisters in St. Louis that love them so much. And then after that, I really would like to see Toronto win, because they haven't won it since '67. That's a couple of lifetimes. Or then someone new, like the Panthers or Las Vegas or Minnesota, somewhere new get to experience that.
Well, Toronto right now is maybe the most cursed franchise in all of sports, not being able to win a championship. But they're in a similar situation as the Blues, in the sense that they're in the Atlantic Division, which is the best division in the Eastern Conference. The Panthers, the Leafs, the Lightning, and the Bruins are going to be the representatives out of that side, and they're going to have to play each other in the first round. So the Leafs and the Lightning will play each other, and the Panthers will see who the Bruins get. But the Leafs are good. They have one of the best players in the world in Austin Matthews. I think he has like close to 60 goals already this year. But for whatever reason, they have not been able to get over the hump. But that's how the Blues were.
Who came up with the hockey bracket? Did the bowl officials come up with a hockey bracket?
Yeah. So about that, they used to go just 1 through 8, and they didn't have divisions. Now they go by division, and that's what happens. You get the two of the better teams in all the Western Conference facing off against each other in the first round, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. And they're never going to change it because it makes their product too compelling from start to finish in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. For you two St. Louis boys, today is the anniversary of the first Celtics title ever on their way to, 17? They won it on this date in 1957 over the St. Louis Hawks.
The St. Louis Hawks, I was going to say.
That just reminds me that St. Louis doesn't have an NBA franchise. That's all that does to remind me.
Yeah.
So growing up, who were you guys' NBA team?
None, to be honest with you.
No, just agnostic,
no,
didn't watch it, didn't care?
Well, no, watched it.
Pretty much, yeah.
But I feel like, Alex,
honestly, though,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Later in my life.
Go ahead.
I felt like it was not until later in my life where I grew an appreciation of the NBA, and I feel like still there's something that holds me back from fully getting into the NBA. Maybe it's the 82-game season.
Yeah.
And I get into it during the playoffs, but not having a vested interest in it definitely didn't do me any favors for my career path where I have to discuss the NBA.
Right. It was really like growing up in St. Louis from an NBA standpoint. It's star watching. It's the Lakers. It's the Celtics. It's the
that
big
was kind of
ones.
me in Memphis. That was kind of us before the Grizzlies. Now we had an affinity for the Magic because of Penny, and then it was really split up. Everybody kind of had their teams. Of course, a lot of Celtics, a lot of Lakers. I was a Knicks fan through most of the 70s and 80s and 90s until we got a team. So, Alex, in your area, in Cedar Rapids, how much are there a lot of Bulls fans? Are there any T-Wolves fans?
Oh yeah. So there's, I would say the Bulls are the number one team. And I've mentioned that we're close to a lot of major cities. We're within 4 hours of Milwaukee, St. Louis, and Chicago, and 5 hours from Kansas City. But anyway, there are the Bulls are probably the number one team, and then there are Bucks fans, and there are T-Wolves fans as well. So I'm happy. I've been to the Twin Cities a couple times. I really enjoy it there, and I think it's a great sports town. And they've just had a really terrible basketball franchise for a very long time, and I was glad to see them get into the playoffs, but I don't think that their stay will be all that long.
Oh my gosh, they have a lot of talent, though. They have a whole lot of young talent.
They do, and it's good to see D'Angelo Russell playing some meaningful basketball, and Anthony Edwards is the young superstar, and they were able to win last night despite Karl Anthony Towns struggling.
Right. Ty Lue put him through hell last night, but we're talking with Alex Kuhn at AlexKuhn523 on Twitter from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Now, we talked about this last week, and we always talk about owners, presidents acting a donkey, and I think Phil Castellini takes the cake this week, and we'll talk about Dan Snyder in a second, so he's right there as well. But Phil Castellini, what he said to his hometown audience yesterday about moving the team and be careful what you ask for, what'd you make of all that?
Well, look, it was as tone deaf as you could possibly imagine. Was I surprised by it? No, I think that when it comes to people in that position, and talking about billionaires who own major league franchises, there's a certain level of entitlement, and that shined through perfectly well yesterday. And if he was trying to get anybody to change, that's the thing, he wasn't trying to get anybody to change their opinion about how they run their franchise, because they traded away all their players to cut costs this offseason. And his response is, okay, well, I'll sell the team. You should be grateful that we own the team, because we sell the team, they'd move out of this rink-a-dink town.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing. That is not his exact quote, but
that was the intent.
That's kind of what he was. That's pretty much the intent of what he was saying there. And I was saying, imagine going to your favorite restaurant, and they took all the good food off the menu, and their food was just awful. And you're like, I got to speak to the manager, and the manager says, "Be grateful. We could move this place. You should bow your head and enjoy the terrible product that we give you." And yeah, I thought it was very tone deaf. Is what I thought of it.
And then there's a point where, like, he tried to apologize. You can't. There's no apologizing. There's no coming back from anything like that. You cannot say, we could move. We don't need you guys. And then come back and say, oh, I didn't mean that. You meant it.
And
you
Alex,
said it.
My contention is there's nowhere to move. Forever, South Florida, Miami, forever, Tampa, Sarasota was kind of a destination point. I guess Vegas would be the biggest thing that you could threaten a town with. But outside of that, unless you're going to have, a third team in Chicago, a third team in New York, a third team in D.C., Baltimore, a third team in L.A., I don't think there are many places you can threaten people with.
No, I mean, it's pretty much a hollow threat at this point. Like, I feel like Nashville's kind of pretty dug in on, they just built a new AAA ballpark and some of those other places that you mentioned. But it's just here's a person threatening one of the best baseball markets in the country.
Yep.
That you better quit talking, or we're gonna rip one of the things that you guys cherish the most out from underneath you.
Yeah.
Like baseball has already done a good enough job of taking their sport out of the heartland of America, where they cut minor league baseball in certain communities, and 2 in the state of Iowa, and Burlington and Clinton, where they've basically shown that they when it comes to revenue, that's the number one thing. And he brought up revenue in this discussion, and it just it was, I thought, further proof that the fans were rightly angered at how things are going within that franchise.
I don't think it's a good business model or good business dealing to say, we don't care about you fans. We don't need you. You're nothing. You're nothing to us.
It's never good to talk to your customer like that. No, that's your restaurant.
And I know. I wonder.
Honestly,
I don't even know where was their PR director during this whole thing? Listening, probably. Trying to pull quotes at that time and saying, "Oh Lord, what is he talking?"
You know who he works for, and at his best.
Well, damn, I'd hate to be. Yeah, I'd hate to be that PR director. Also, I'd hate to be the PR director for the Washington Commanders. Dan Snyder. In more news, that's fun. Potential illegal financial dealings this time, not sexual misconduct. So we've moved away from that. That's still not sort of figured itself out. But we're now to financial dealings where he's robbing his customers, his paying customers, basically.
Yeah, I mean,
and we've reached the point, really beyond the point.
Would you rather be robbed or told to scram?
but
which order's the worst?
We're beyond the point though with the NFL where they have to get something done. What do they do though? Are we getting to the point where we need, and especially if all these things are proven, are we at the point of a forced sale from Dan Snyder?
I feel like that point was so long ago, though.
Right. I guess, yes.
The fact that he had a sexual harassment investigation where he somehow was given a deal that he didn't have to release any of the findings. No, it wasn't up to the NFL as to whether or not those findings got released. It was up to Dan Snyder himself. What kind of deal is that? What is, like, it makes you realize that, man, the NFL really wants to keep this guy around. And yeah, like, where do you get to that point? What is with someone like Dan Snyder? The question is, like, what's bad enough to force something like that? Because we've already seen
bad enough.
Bad. We've already seen horrific. He spit in figuratively spit in his fans' face before, puts a terrible product out there. There was this story. Our former boss was a Washington football team season ticket holder, and he told the story about Dan Snyder trying to cut costs. So he bought a bunch of expired peanuts from airlines and then sold them for a higher price at his stadium. So this is his disdain for his fans has never been new, but now it's okay, well, he's stealing from them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you would think, but with the NFL and how they have
Roger Goodell's coddled him. Let's not hide it. Roger Goodell has coddled him through the whole thing.
Yeah.
He has, and that's who he works for.
Yes, Roger. Make no mistake about it. When you see Roger Goodell, you think, "Oh, he's super powerful. He's the most powerful person in the NFL." No, he's not. He works.
He's got bosses.
He has close to 3 dozen of them.
Yeah. He works for them. They hold the money. Now, there are some that are more powerful than others, but just to see the way he has coddled Dan Snyder through all of this has just been gross. And the fact that they can't release findings from the sexual misconduct investigation. Now you're at this point. I mean, how many things have to stack up before you say this guy is a detriment to our league and to the Shield? But it's ridiculous at this point. But Alex, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Alex.
Yep. Talk to you guys next week.
You go, man.
You got it. Alex Kuhn with us every week, and so fun to always check in and visit with him. And we will have hockey picks and become hockey experts whenever they get through with their season. They don't end until almost the 1st of May. Here's a place that loves their customers. I guarantee you that. That's a guarantee. That's a promise. And that's it. Belly Acres, and their motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple. Provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the entire family, and they've accomplished that. 2 great locations right now, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. We've talked about the third opening location for a while. Looks like it's going to be around the middle of the summer. A little construction delay, but coming soon to Silo Square in South Haven for a third location for those signature burgers that are made from 100% grass-fed beef, sandwiches, everything fresh, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. Family setting right here in the big city that you'll feel like the farm setting in the big city, and it will feel so fun to you. That family setting with TVs on everywhere, everyone having a good time. The burgers, like the Dare You or the Double Dare You, and the melt in your mouth, and you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team's developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade fresh toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the big city. The goal at Belly Acres is to become even more sustainable as they grow, and they have, and they will. In Overton Square and in Regalia now, coming soon to Silo Square in South Haven, the very best quality available in Memphis is at Belly Acres. Burger, shakes, and smiles, and appreciation for you, the valued customer. That's a guarantee at Belly Acres.
I do get a kick out of it. We just got done talking about Dan Snyder with Alex. I do get a kick out of Adam Schefter going on Twitter today to announce the Washington Commanders announced that a social media influencer, Katie Feeney, will be the team's first ever social media correspondent. I mean, come on. Stop trying
Thanks a lot, Adam.
You're trying to block out the sun with a pen or something. This is ridiculous. It's just Adam Schefter has got to stop.
Schefty's going to shift.
He's got to stop holding water for these guys. He's got to, because it's hurting his credibility. It really is. It really is. Let's go ahead and get to a break. We come back from said break. We have some DeAndre Williams news to get to. DeAndre Williams makes an announcement that Tiger fans are certainly going to want to hear right here on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Get your afternoon started with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sang and Sports 56 Grind Time. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Yes, it's still winter. Yes, it's still cold outside. But Family Leisure wants you to start thinking towards spring and maybe even summer. So Family Leisure's pool and patio sale is happening right now. Come to Family Leisure to get started on your outdoor living space. Yes, I know it's cold and dreary outside, but this is the perfect time to think ahead. Pools are in stock and ready to go. Brand new 2022 patio furniture is hitting the floor each and every day. In-stock hot tubs are ready for delivery. You can get fantastic deals on play gyms, trampolines, grills, and outdoor kitchens. I know you are already looking forward to spring and summer, and so does Family Leisure. But if you sit on the couch too long, the best deals will be gone. So don't wait until it's too late. Stop thinking about spring and summer. Start planning for it. The pool and patio sale is in season right now. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road. That's Whitten at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Even though
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Absolutely spectacular design, spared no expense.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back rolling on Sports Time. Gabe Kuhn, Brett Stats, Norsworthy. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Questions, comments, concerns, send them in. Message form. Let us know. Also, you can message us on our socials, Sports 56 WHBQ, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Also, go to our website, sports56whbq.com. Podcast by the hour, featured audio, whole bunch up there for your listening pleasure. Now, before we get into the DeAndre Williams news, worth mentioning, North Carolina had a worthwhile returnee. Looks like Armando Bacot is returning for a senior season at North Carolina. And this is sort of along the lines we had a conversation with Kevin Sween in our final visit last week about certain guys possibly returning if the money wasn't right, if the draft position wasn't right at the NBA level. I think Armando Bacot sort of falls into that category, and Caleb Love as well from North Carolina. But Armando Bacot seemingly could be a guy that could take advantage of a lot of NIL deals in his senior season.
Yeah, that's two big pieces. That's two guys from North Carolina that if they had won, one of those two probably would have been most outstanding player of the tournament. So that's big for North Carolina, and how Bacot just got every rebound and battled and was hurt and came back from it. But for the Tigers now, if we count, and where are y'all right now? We went down the roster on stay or go. Gabe, I think you were out that week, but then you caught up with us on it. We went down it. Where are y'all now on Amani Bates? Opening night next year, a Tiger or gone? One or the other.
I mean, if I'm going one or the other, I'd still say gone.
I would too. Brian, are you there?
Yeah. Unless I hear anything else, I'm in the same place I was.
Yes. Okay, so if that's the case, that's 9 out of the 17 on the currently listed roster at GoTigersGo.com. I just went to it. So that would be 9 out. We know we have one new in, and it feels really close on 2 more. If they get the transfer from SMU and they get the transfer from Arkansas State, Norchad Omier. And remember, I would talk about him often during the college basketball season. I didn't get a chance to go to Jonesboro and see him play. They could be real good with the pieces they have. If they got those guys, the transfer from Georgia Southern that's official,
experience. It's all about experience.
And some returning players, it's not as hopeless as it felt.
Yeah, I think the experience is what you're referring to there. And DeAndre Williams, of course, one of the 9 I think you're talking about. He today announced he's declaring for the NBA draft while maintaining college eligibility, very similar to Lester Quinones and what he said. I think Lester would be more likely to transfer if he does decide to opt out of the NBA draft.
And door not slammed shut on DeAndre Williams. He didn't
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think DeAndre Williams, there's some sweat equity built up here. I really do believe that. And I think him and Penny have a relatively good working relationship. Now, with DeAndre Williams, the one thing I would say is you wonder, along the same lines of Armando Bacot, right? Along those same lines, I know you're entering your name into the NBA draft. You're a 5th-year guy. You're going to be a 6th-year guy. The NBA is not going to be giving you a whole lot of money. At the best, you're a G League guy. I don't even necessarily think that's the case. I think best case scenario for pro ball, DeAndre Williams is an overseas guy. I think that's what we're looking at realistically, who he is as a player. If he comes back to the University of Memphis, I wonder how many people out there. And I know that the NIL is still developing. I know that there's a lot of people trying to develop that sort of pool here at the University of Memphis. But DeAndre Williams could potentially be a guy that is the face of the program if he comes back.
Well, he could be, Gabe, and you just wonder what the malaise, the cloud hanging over the program with the IARP decision still looming. You wonder what that does to the NIL market. Does it dry it up? I don't think the NIL market for the Tigers going into this fall is as lucrative as it was last fall.
I agree, but I don't think it's gone. I don't think it's completely
dried up.
No,
I don't think it's zero.
I don't think it's completely dried up. I think there's a level to this too where you look at seniors, like a guy like DeAndre Williams. He can't play 2 more years. He has a COVID year. That's all he has left. And
he's already played 9. Why can't he play one more?
If we know anything about the NCAA, when the hell are they going to actually come down with sanctions and actually put potential postseason bans on the Tigers? Does it come before next season? Because I don't think that's the case.
Right on the eve of next season, after the fall semester starts, and you've locked players in, and they can't go anywhere.
Yep, that's usually how that works. But
that's the old fun and games they like to play.
Yeah. If you're a senior, I guess it depends what you think right now about when those sanctions will come down.
Or more devastating, they do it right before the fall semester begins, and everybody can have Cannonball Express and head for the hills, and you can't get anybody to come in and play.
Yeah, I think it'll be handed down later than that. And I know that they're trying to introduce certain things into rotation in our government about the NCAA having 2 years to give you your sanctions ultimately. That still hasn't passed. That's still
moves
in
slower
rotation.
than NCAA
That moves
does,
very,
though.
very slow. I'm telling you, I don't think this decision is going to be passed down until at least after next season. That's my opinion on it. I just know how slow they are. I know how slow they are. Now with Memphis, who knows? Who knows? With the Tigers, they may speed up the process and try to get these sanctions down quickly. But my feel on this and how this is played out is that this is going to be deliberate.
Well, it's always a kangaroo court with the NCAA. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have very few people pulling for you. And it's why I said years ago, way before Ole Miss got in trouble, when the local team gets in trouble, regardless of who you are, if you're Tennessee Stripe or Alabama or Arkansas or Ole Miss or Tigers or Mississippi State, don't take so much glee in it. Or way back when Alabama was in trouble, don't take so much glee in it, because the next day, the next screaming headline, it could be you under the crosshairs, and there's really no beating them.
Mm-hmm. There's not. Now, I think we're getting to a day in college sports where the NCAA may be able to get beat, where the NCAA may have a lot less power, but we're not quite there yet.
I got to see it to believe it.
We're not quite there yet. Now, second hour is on the way. In the second hour, we're going to get to a lot of NBA news. Have some Hornets, Hawks tonight. We have Spurs versus Pelicans. The 9-10 matchups are tonight. We have some play-in to discuss still. We have to talk about the Nets win over the Cavs, the Timberwolves win over the Clippers, and we'll also break down the Timberwolves in regards to the Grizzlies. They're playing a series starting on Saturday here in Memphis, 2:30 at FedEx Forum. But before we get to all that discussion, got to get to our second visit of the year with our friend from Timber Trust Golf Course, John Goen. We have some golf talk and picks coming up next.
Look, I know you're hungry for amazing fajitas, and Los Cabos has got them. Los Cabos Bar and Grill with their giant baked potato fajita. It's stuffed with either chicken or steak and smothered with cheese. Or try Los Cabos classic steak fajita burrito. And if you're in need of the largest selection of premium tequilas in Memphis, then Los Cabos is your destination. You got happy hour 2 to 8 daily. And if you need a place to watch any game or just have a date night, then get yourself to one of Los Cabos locations. 6600 Stage Road, 2037 Exeter Road, 6542 Quince, and coming soon to South Haven at 3964 Goodman Road.
I'm here with Kyle Storms from Big Green Egg. Kyle, I hear people all the time say how they love their Big Green Egg, but what makes a Big Green Egg so great?
Thanks, Stats. The fact that our grill is made out of the highest quality ceramic allows our customers to smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all while locking in the most amount of heat and flavor in their favorite foods.
What kind of fuel does the Big Green Egg use?
100% natural lumpwood charcoal. That's really where half our flavor comes from.
How many sizes does the Big Green Egg come in?
We have 7 different sizes and all different configurations ranging from metal stands, wood tables, and metal carts with a lifetime warranty. So we really do have a size and price point for everyone.
Where can someone go to see the entire lineup of Big Green Egg?
Garden Spas and Pool, Germantown Hardware, Hamilton's Fireplace and Grills, East Memphis Ace, and Cordova Ace Hardware.
I have so many people tell me they hear my ads on this station and that they want to know if I'm really as bad a golfer as everyone says. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors. And yes, I hate to say I am. I wish I were in my 90s because I could then tell people I shoot my age. But being a bad golfer is not terrible because I devote so much of my time to selling homes to keep my clients happy. Over the many years in the real estate business, I developed a highly successful strategic marketing program, not merely a listing program. Using preparation, presentation, and proper pricing, it works. If you're thinking of selling, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. Find out why people often say that when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn. That's Shell Dunn Rosengarten, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now. Shell Dunn, 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight. exclusively FedEx. When we put them in nice packaging, we don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Oh, nothing but the best.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
That's right. Gabe Kuhn, Brett Norsworthy with you on Sports Time on Sports 56. Hour number 2 is here, and it is always sponsored by our good friends at the Big Green Egg. AutoZone listener line also 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Text us your questions, comments, concerns. You have some thoughts on the Grizzlies. Get those in. We'll talk about that later in the hour. But right now, we bring on our good friend from Timber Trust Golf Course, John Goen. John, how are you?
Doing well, Gabe. How are you?
I'm doing well. No complaints at all. Now, we got the RBC Heritage this week. What do you think about Scottie Scheffler's performance last week? And honestly, I look at what he does compared to some guys on tour. Like I see Colin Morikawa out there. I see Cameron Smith, even Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas. They all can make these wild and crazy shots. It feels like Scottie Scheffler is a lot more steady and plays his golf in a steady way rather than being very flashy.
Yeah, I mean, I think once again, for any either new golfer, somebody looking to get into golf, or whatever, Scottie Scheffler is the perfect example, very similar to a Jim Furyk or others, where you don't have to swing the golf club absolutely perfect every single time, or you don't have to have the picture-perfect golf swing, footwork, whatever, to be able to play this game. And clearly, over the years, Scottie Scheffler has figured out a way to be able to swing, be consistent, play a very consistent shot shape that he's comfortable with. You know, they always say it's easier to talk to a fade than to a draw. And, so from his perspective, he's been able to hone that in. And, I think a lot of what everybody talked about, last week while watching him, I think we always talk about what happens to these guys coming out of something like a Ryder Cup. And clearly, being picked by Captain Stricker and making that happen, and being that guy, the only guy who had not had a PGA win, clearly something motivated him coming out of that, being around those guys. And last week he showed that, regardless of what happens, he is the world's number one player. We clearly missed him last week in all of our picks, I think. So,
right.
Just an impressive performance. And fortunately for him too, that golf course, for the most part, sets up for him to be able to play that predominant fade. There's just a few holes where he really has to figure it out, and kind of work a draw. So, but yeah, just really, really impressive from his standpoint last week.
John, it was, and I can't stand this word, but he almost made it. Oh, I can't stand this word. He almost made it boring on Sunday. He was so steady, Eddie. And one thing, for as much as we all love the Masters, and most golf people do, and outside of golf, I think people look to the Masters with respect for so many things they get right. That winner's coming from that final group on Sunday. You can forget about Paul Lowry posting a number and the wind going crazy and he's sitting high and dry and the field coming back to him. That winner's coming out of that last slot that goes out last on number 1 tee.
Yeah, I don't know whether – clearly early on he did not make it look boring. I think, really, the chip in on 3 was massive for him. But again, as we all know, that's a lot more luck than it is skill. Yes, he's got a short game, but I mean, that ball's carrying some pace. It happens to center punch the flag. Yes, it's trying to spin, and
that stick got in the way.
Some speed off of it, but the speed, the flag stick literally gets in the way. But, nobody really made a real serious charge. You wonder if Rory's able to do something on 15. That I think was the bigger surprise. I mean, Rory gets out there, he makes eagle on 13. You're like, okay, this could get a little interesting, and then does nothing on 15, and really does nothing the rest of the way in until he holds out the bunker shot on 18.
Nobody did anything on 15 all week. Backing it up worked.
Right. Yeah. Well, backing it up, and then obviously the wet conditions of that golf course through the week. The wind was completely, unfavorable on that hole as well. So first time, and I don't remember the exact date, somewhere in the 90s, I think, where there was not an eagle on the 15th hole, during Masters Week.
More eagles on 16 that went down as a hole-in-one for Stuart Sink, but there were more eagles on 16 than on 15.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's obviously pretty rare. But again, I think it was just it was a bit of a flukish week weather-wise. Obviously all the rain early on. They were playing. I know when we were there Thursday, the golf course was saturated. It maybe not so much. I mean, well, clearly it was inside the ropes, but very much outside the ropes. They were throwing a lot of green
it's a
sand.
Slick track.
You definitely
had a
saw
nice
some
odor
folks,
to it too, didn't it, John?
Oh man, you definitely saw some folks early on in their day too, before the beer got flowing too much. Where there were plenty of mud skids on shorts and shirts and everything else. So, but I mean, again, I think clearly Scotty Scheffler was the dominant player last week. And obviously. It's great for him at 25 years old. It gives us somebody now to kind of talk about, kind of the next star kind of coming out.
He's boring.
Very calm. He is.
And I hate that word.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, I mean, clearly that is to his benefit, though, too, that he's boring. Very calm. I heard the comment to Ted Scott after he, missed another putt as to how many more of these do I have before I can win the tournament. So I mean there's clearly some humor in there, and clearly he doesn't let a lot of stuff get to him. He seems to have a little more personality than Brooks Koepka, but he's also very Brooks Koepka-esque as far as his demeanor and how he doesn't let things kind of rattle him through the course of a round, good or bad.
Mm-hmm. And the way he ran away from it, ran away in the tournament, I think not obviously upstaged by the Tiger Woods, just showing himself, playing a round of competitive golf. What'd you think of Tiger's performance? It really looked like day 1 and day 2, there was still something there to be unlocked. Day 3, day 4, it looked a little laborsome on him.
He looked labored on Thursday. When we saw him Thursday walking down the second hole and then walking on the second green, you could see that it was going to be just a very physically demanding week for Tiger. And, so I think realistically, just to have Tiger compete last week was very impressive, both physically and mentally, because you can only imagine with what, he was somewhat showing externally, how much that he's trying to not show how much pain he's truly in, and what he's hiding internally. You definitely saw a little bit more of it, especially after Sunday when you saw him greeting his family, and everything that it was much more physically challenging for him. And just what a feat it has to be for him to then go home, hop in these ice baths, ice packs, all of this stuff to try to then just get ready for the next day. I mean, I can't fathom the hours. Most of us, I mean, even if we wanted to say we took a tour player's approach to something, you're going to show up to the golf course an hour ahead. You're going to hit some golf balls. You're going to hit some putts. You might hit a few chips. You go back and take a few swings, and then you go. But you're showing up to the golf course an hour ahead of time. You've got to think in Tiger's world right now, it's 3 or 4 hours prior to his round of golf of just trying to either loosen up, stretch,
physical
work
therapy,
physio-wise and all that stuff. And then, go to the golf course, then probably do some stuff at the golf course just to loosen himself up on the car ride over, although it's probably not all that far. And then kind of, go out to the range, see how he's going to react, make any tweaks there. I mean, it's not just a 4.5 or 5 hour round of golf. You got to think he's in this 10 to 15 hours. Then by the time he goes back home, has to hop an ice bath again and everything else. The physical challenge was just, obviously very impressive. On top of just, then having to be mentally strong as well, to be able to stop, focus on what the shot is, try to pull the shot off, and then, then deal with the walking after that. Because as we talk about so much, I mean, you really can't appreciate it until you get to Augusta National as to just how much elevation change there is throughout that golf course.
John, I think there are 2 awards that are wrapped up here in the middle of April. One is Comeback Player of the Year, and that's for the great Tiger Woods. On Sunday, I didn't think he could make it down the hill on number 6. It's straight downhill. It feels like 90 degrees. And I thought, oh, man, I don't want it to end like this. And I think he's wrapped up Comeback Player of the Year. But I think Player of the Year has been wrapped up with Scotty Scheffler. I mean, nobody's topping what he's already done.
4 out of 6 victories.
And a green jacket.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's already got a WGC event. He's already got now a major. Clearly, I think that he is easily your player of the year, regardless of what happens. Outside of, I guess, somebody winning 2. I think if somebody wins 2 majors. But hell, at this point, it could be Scotty Scheffler.
It sure could be. I mean, there's only one guy who can win the Slam, and that's the guy that wins the first one at Augusta National. John, real quick, this is a hard question. I wish I'd have texted you a little primer on this. I said yesterday, talking about college football places, that everywhere could learn from Augusta National. Doesn't cost anything extra to be nice. I think everybody can get the trash cans emptied, and I think everybody can be kind to – it's your place. After being down there, was there anything you said, all right, we can take this home to DeSoto County. We can do this at our place. Everybody can do. Did you see anything that, I can do this at my place?
I mean, look, there's always.
And you're already loving on your clientele and customers. I know that because I spent a lot of time down there with you 2 years ago. I know you really appreciate them. But I just think everybody could probably turn up the niceness to people that are spending hard-earned cash with you.
There's no doubt. I mean, and I really think in the public golf realm within our community, I think that's the biggest challenge. And I think that's what we try to do the most is just thank people for coming. It's always hard because it's just, there's such a change. I saw something on social media, and it's a pretty factual comment of, people want to have Augusta National conditions, but pay, $40 to be able to do it. But when you see this picture of 12 fairway mowers on a fairway at a Augusta National Golf Club, you see how, and a fairway mower nowadays is $80, $90, $100,000. Multiply that times 12, then the labor, then the this, then the that. I mean,
and that wasn't only 12 they have.
Well, no doubt. And so look, I mean, all of us in our industry, in this market, try to do the best we can to provide the best,
you do.
Course experience, the best conditions that we possibly can. But you definitely see, look, when I was at Southwind, there is a remarkable difference in what the golf course maintenance budget is at TPC and what mine is. And it shows. Now, would I absolutely love to be able to pull that off for my customer? Yes, I would. But there is some reality to some of that. But it's like anything else. I mean, clearly there's a different cost to be a member at TPC. There's a different cost to be the guest of a member at TPC. So I know that deflects a bit from what the question was, Stats, but there's always things, regardless of where I go, that I'd love to be able to do and bring back. And there are smaller things. I mean, one of the things that we are doing that is different than anybody outside of TPC, because TPC is the only one else in our marketplace that has this, is we're going to do some tournament software this year that actually has live scoring while the event is out on the golf course. So every 45 to 90 seconds, as you're out playing in your fundraiser event or your corporate event or our Thursday night 2-man scramble or whatever, you're going to have the ability to see exactly what's going on the golf course. So it's going to have a very PGA Tour type feel to it. So it's those types of things that, yes, I do try to take into account on multiple levels as far as what we can bring to Timber Trust and how we can continue to best service our customer.
All right, before we get into picks, and Bryant will pick first, then Gabe, then John, then me, and we'll have our locks and we'll have our shocks for the RBC Heritage. John, tell our listeners how they can come down and have a great time in DeSoto County at Timber Trust playing golf.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different ways. Obviously, you can always call us, 662-895-3530. You can obviously visit us online at timbertrustgolf.com. Numerous things kind of going on. We had a great, although it was chilly, but we had a great time Friday night with our Friday Night Lights event. We lit up 4 holes out on the golf course. We brought back some Masters swag to give out to everybody that participated. But just a really fun event. We had a great band there playing music. We had some good food. And, just an opportunity to, once again, do something different. And have people just come hang out within our golf community and just enjoy being around each other as we, really, as we all know, kick off the golf season right around Augusta time. So, again, plenty kind of going on. Obviously, it's Easter weekend coming up, so there's plenty of good tee times available. We got Good Friday, so now we got 3 days this weekend to be able to get out and play golf. But, again, either visit us at timbertrustgolf.com or call us at 662-895-3530 and book your tee time.
And I guarantee you'll have fun and you will be appreciated by you and your wife and your staff and everybody down there. Bryant, you're on the first tee with the unfortunate goose egg last weekend.
We may need to have a conversation about this. You wanted to take credit. You wanted to take credit for the win last year.
I still take credit.
You have a goose egg on a double.
I'm gonna take Kevin Kisner. Don't listen to Gabe. It was all me last year.
Kevin
it's awfully
Kisner
early to throw a bagel. You had the whole off.
That's what I'm saying.
Yourself for this week 1, you get the trunk slammer and you're out.
I had an awful week, but at least I had some money on the board.
It was
Kevin Kisner.
I wanted that first
local
pick,
guy
so, yeah.
at this tournament. He's from Aiken, South Carolina.
Yeah, you wanted first pick. Great.
Played college golf at Georgia. Gabe,
I'm going to go. This is tough. I have 2 picks. He left it open for me. I'm going to go Colin Morikawa.
Very solid. John?
Yeah, I was in the great coin flip. I mean, to your point, you kind of left it open.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Kevin Kisner first pick was not something I expected today, but all right.
Go ahead, John.
Doing value plays.
After digging at me last week about my man love, he's available, and you had him last week.
I know.
Go ahead, John. We'll see who loves who.
Right. Well, I wish I could feel good about JT coming out of Augusta, but I really don't. I think that this could be one of those where he's just kind of a bit tired. So I'm going to take a guy who's won here in Memphis, and I will take Daniel Berger.
Daniel Berger, very good pick. That leaves me, and I promise you, he was the first choice I wanted for this tournament, Matt Fitzpatrick.
Back around to the top. Let's see, Brian, what you got in the shock?
This was the pick I was wanting the whole time. Webb Simpson as my shot.
Oh, that
is really solid.
That's a really good one.
That's a good one.
And smart, Brian, not wasting him as your lock because you don't get double that way.
Thank you.
Golly.
Very smart.
Right. Well done, Bryant. Well done. You foiled me. You foiled me. And he was world number 41, so you know, right outside 40. I'm going to go with Brian Harmon. Give me Brian Harmon.
Oh, he was mine last week, and he didn't do a lot.
Bounce
John?
back.
Yeah, I don't know. You can go obviously a bunch of different ways here, but I guess I'm going to go. I'm going to go with old Tommy. Can you hear me, Fleetwood? Because he had a bit of a seems to be kind of turning a corner here a little bit with his game. And look, RBC Heritage in Harbortown, you don't have to hit it long on this golf course.
Cut it straight.
You don't have to be a bomber. You just have to be able to shot shape it, hit some irons, hit some hybrids. But you're not. This is not a let me see how many times I can bomb it out there type golf course. So you can take somebody like a Tommy Fleetwood, who's not one of the longer guys, and maybe he's got a fighting chance this week.
And that's why I'm going to have Team Matt this week. Matt Fitzpatrick and the old wily veteran, just right down the irrigation line, smiling Matt Kuchar.
There you go.
Woo!
All right, we're all set.
The Cooch.
We're all
yes,
set.
Sir. John, have a great weekend. You may need a boat to play this afternoon, but have a great weekend, and we look forward to visiting with you next week, and the year is underway. Good luck, John, this week, and I know you're going to be crowded down at Timber Trust.
It was so funny last week, real quick. I feel like I'm Jim Cantori right now. Last week we're in Augusta. We got tornado sirens and everything else kind of going off all around us. Today, right before we're getting ready to go on, all of a sudden the tornado sirens out here start going off. I'm like, this is like back-to-back weeks to start the season. I'm placed in the middle of a war zone almost. Good Lord! But
we'll get blue skies next week.
Happy Easter to everybody, and hopefully
Back
see you down in Olive Branch this weekend. Take care, boys.
You have a good one, John. John Goen from Timber Trust Golf. Now, for the rest of the hour, we're going to have very, very heavy NBA discussion. Now, what I want to do with this, 901-360-8255, Autos on listener line, Grizzlies are playing the Timberwolves. Now, we got a lot of Grizzlies fans out there looking forward to this series. Let me know. I don't need to know how scared you are. Give me your prediction and give me the amount of games it happens in. You got the Grizzlies in 4, 5, 6, 7. You have the Timberwolves in 4, 5, 6, 7. Let us know at the Autos on listener line, 901-360-8255. And then at the bottom of the hour, planning on opening the phone lines to you guys to be able to get your predictions in.
Are you scared at all? I mean, even that kind of coach apprehension, you got to respect the opponent. Well, are you there?
I think there's always a level when you see a team play and it's fresh on your mind. There's always that thought process of, maybe I sort of misjudged this, because I think the Timberwolves, based on what I saw last night, have so many ways they can score. And they did that last night without Karl Anthony Towns doing a damn thing. So I guess
there's a 7-point favorite for a reason Saturday. I'm not scared at all.
There's
not
always a little bit of apprehension, but to sort of round it all out, I still think the Grizzlies in 5. That's my prediction. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think in 6. So I guess I'm more scared than you, huh?
I guess
I'm talking Mr. Tough Guy here. I guess I'm more.
And also, I think game to game, this is going to be a tough series for the Grizzlies because both these teams like to do very similar things. And home court advantage, I think, is going to mean something. I think game to game, it will be interesting. But I think the series altogether will be wrapped up relatively quickly.
We want your input at the AutoZone text line, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone at AutoZone. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel and the NBA play-in tournament. There are no sure things except one. Bet at least $20 in same-game parlays on FanDuel Sportsbook, and you'll get an instant bonus, win or lose. That's right. Not only do you get to enjoy the NBA's best, dueling it out for the right to advance to the playoffs, but FanDuel's giving all customers a bonus for getting in on the action, and the more you bet, the bigger your bonus will be. Tonight, I love the Hawks tonight. I love Trae Young going over the scoring total, and I like the under for LaMelo Ball in the assist number. FanDuel is an official partner of the NBA. Their app is safe, easy to use, and you'll get your winnings fast. New to FanDuel Sportsbook, Sign up right now with promo code CASH to make every moment more fun during this postseason. Don't just watch the NBA play-in tournament. Be a part of it. Get in on the action. Bet at least $20 in same-game parlays and get an instant bonus, win or lose. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 7 days. Max bonus $100. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Get those texts in, 901-360-8255. Autos on listener line. Predictions on the Grizzlies versus Timberwolves series. We talk about that when we come back on Sportstime with Game and Stats.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
In the alley since 1948, the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see everything kind of getting back to normal.
Brett, we've done a lot of ads before, but maybe it's time for me to do a recap. We have valet parking at the end of our alley on Monroe. On Fridays and Saturdays, we give away our wonderful red beans and rice until it runs out. And you know we like to do things local. Miss Barbara Jackson of O Taste and See has been making these wonderful chess and pecan pies, that's pecan, not pecan, and key lime pies for dessert. And we just started serving this wonderful gelato from Sweet Magnolia Gelato Company. And just to remind everybody, you don't eat cheese and sausage with a knife and fork. You take a cracker, you put sausage on it, you put a piece of cheese on it, a little mustard or a little sauce, take a bite and chase it with the pickle. Brett, we've always been the place for all gatherings, whether they're corporate, rehearsal dinners, retirement parties, birthday parties, whatever. We seat anywhere from 20 people to 250 people. And oh, by the way, we are now open for lunch from 11 o'clock on Tuesday through Saturday. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events that let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Back pain, muscle spasms, bulging or herniated disc, shooting hip and leg pain with tingling in the feet? Mid-South Wellness and Neuropathy Center has the answers with their advanced machine called spinal decompression. This spinal decompression machine has saved their patients from addictive pain meds and back surgery. Let Mid-South Wellness Neuropathy Center get you back to playing golf and getting restful sleep again. Located in the heart of the city in Eastgate at Park and White Station, Mid-South Wellness Neuropathy Center is easy to visit. Give them a call today and ask for the Johnny Harden Decompression VIP deal and save 40%. Call 901-495-2320 and again ask for the Johnny Harden VIP deal at Mid-South Wellness Neuropathy Center. 901-495-2320. Call today and feel better tomorrow. Mid-South Wellness Neuropathy Center, the answer to your pain.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkham for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. Lots of vehicles to choose from at Sunrise. Trucks, SUVs, certified late model used cars, and cars under $10,000. At Sunrise, we specialize in low monthly payments and secondary financing. Come on in, call, or go online to sunrisememphis.com. Schedule an appointment, select your vehicle, appraise your trade-in, arrange financing and delivery. We'll deliver right to your doorstep. All cars inspected and ready to go. Need service or body work? Bring it to Sunrise or go online to schedule an appointment. Sunrise, Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Dad, come on, you're going to fall on the barbecue.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
We already have some Grizz and 4 people at the AutoZone list line, 901-360-8255. Get your predictions
Love
in.
it. Love the optimism.
What do you think happens with this Grizzlies versus Timberwolves series? Now, you posed the question to me. Did you have any apprehension about what you saw in the game last night with the Timberwolves eventually winning that game? I'll pose that to you, Brett. Was there any apprehension from anything you saw that the Timberwolves did?
None, and I watched every second of it. Well competed game, fun game to watch. The hometown crowd was hopping. The Grizzlies are going to catch that. But there's a reason why over the long march from October to April, one is the 2 seed and one is the 7 seed. There's a reason why on Saturday the Grizzlies are a 7-point favorite. Look, the whole respect thing, I expect all the coaches and all the players, team officials, I expect them to say that. I don't have to say that. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm. And you go and look at the what they're saying from a series standpoint, for series betting. For the Grizzlies versus the Timberwolves. Grizzlies minus 320 in this series. So Vegas
that speaks loudly, doesn't it?
Vegas very, very confident that the Grizzlies can
did
take
it
this
bother
home.
you the post game guys? I'm not talking about personally offended, but did it bother you? Those people that know a lot about this.
Not a slight bit because because one,
not in the least.
Shaq and Charles Barkley don't watch the Grizzlies. Come on, unless they're on TNT.
They don't remember the last time they were asked.
That's what I'm trying to say.
And
also Charles Barkley, Ernie asked him, and that question, quite frankly, kicked his ass because he said it was going to be the Grizzlies at first, and then when he asked him officially, he said, "Oh, I'm going Timberwolves." And he didn't really have reasons why. Shaq tried to give reasons, but I know
he was
for a
getting
fact
late.
Shaq decent.
Car service was waiting on him out front. He was ready to go.
I was going to say I love who Shaquille O'Neal is. I really do. Like he really brings a lot to the TNT set. But he's also, when it comes to between him, Kenny, and Charles, he's the least likely to have a good take on something when it comes to actually who's going to win a series and everything else. He doesn't watch the games. Let's just be real
what I love about them is they're all kind of vying to be the class clown.
Yeah. Well, Kenny, not so much.
Definitely
Charles and
not
Shaq
as much.
for sure. Charles and Shaq.
But they're in a duel, and I think that makes it fun, and they keep it fun.
My apprehension is with the glue lady though last night.
What was that about?
Did you see that? And also, first of all, I saw the handprint. She tried to glue her hand to the ground, and I guess she was mad at Glenn Taylor is the idea. But it looked like she used Elmer's glue.
Get in line.
What kind of glue was she using? You ain't gluing your hand to a basketball court unless you use Gorilla Glue. Like she had some Elmer's out there.
And I saw this last night on Twitter. Is anybody going to tell her what glue's made of?
And is anyone going to tell her? So this is from Allie LaForce, who was right there and covered it. She said, and this is her tweet, word for word, the woman who glued herself to the court at the Clippers-Timberwolves game wore a shirt that said Glenn Taylor roasts animals alive. She was referring to an egg farm that he has had to recently kill chickens because of the bird flu outbreak that has been happening. I wonder, I feel like this would go over better if Glenn Taylor actually owned the team. If you'll remember, he sold it to A-Rod and Mark Lore. So Glenn Tayller does not own the Timberwolves.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So
I'm with Glue Lady.
I don't know, Glue Lady. You tried. You thought there was something there.
Whole new definition of glue guy on the team, though, isn't it? Glue Lady. Like I said, I've been corny for 60 years.
I was going to say, I was just going to let you talk after that. You got it.
This team, though, Minnesota, for their exuberance over winning that last night, only won 2 series ever, got all the way to the Western Conference Finals in 03-04, went 58-24 that year, coached by Flip Saunders. They beat Denver. They beat Sacramento before losing to Kobe, Shaq, Gary Payton, Mailman, Derek Fisher. They lost 4-2 in that series. But this is just one of the bad teams of all time. They only have winning records over 5 teams, and the Grizzlies are one of them.
This is a different
all-time regular season, 51-50 over the Grizzlies.
This is a different team, and I point to the game last night. I thought both teams were tough last night, Clippers and the Timberwolves. I thought they played their asses off.
I really enjoyed that.
I thought Ty Lue, by the way, you got to give him credit. That's why I think the Clippers gave me more apprehension than the Timberwolves, because Ty Lue is a magician.
You always said that.
He put Karl Anthony Towns through hell last night. Karl Anthony Towns was fouled out with 7 minutes to go. He put him in the high pick and roll every time. He was trying to get him to foul out. And every time that Cat got the ball, it was just hammer him. I don't care if you pick up a foul, hammer him every step of the way. So I thought Ty Lue did a heck of a job, even though they ended up losing last night. But I think this
See, I think in our Grizzlies run from opening night 2001 to now, I think we have been so much better than often we give credit for. And I know it's really kind of been 3 generations of Grizzly success. The Hubie team, grit and grind, and now this one that we think, and as Rob Fisher said yesterday, just that tingly, great feeling that just cold chills when you think about can go far at all this year in this run. This isn't some 6-year plan. This is a 6-week plan. But then you look at the Timberwolves. Now they're in a city with all the big boys. They have the hockey, they have the NFL, they have the Major League Baseball, and they have a Big Ten team playing basketball all winter against them and all fall in football. They were 21 in attendance out of 30. One spot in front of the Grizzlies this year, but in the 33 years they've been in the NBA, only 9 playoff appearances before now.
It's not a good franchise. It's not. It's one of the better teams, probably. I mean, one of the better teams in their history. I'm not saying the best team in their history. Probably one with Kevin Garnett on it. But this is one of the better teams they've had in their history. This series, though, I rank it from an intrigue standpoint. And not just because I cover this team, this city, the Grizzlies, but from an intrigue standpoint, I'd say it's right behind the 76ers and Raptors because I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be up-tempo. Game to game ought to be a war. You have a lot of young players trying to fight for their right, trying to fight for their playoff positioning. And I think it'll be similar to what we saw during the year. And the Timberwolves, while you can say a lot about defensively, they don't really have a rim protector. They're not good at stopping guys from getting points in the paint, which would help the Grizzlies with John Morant. They do have a guy by the name of Patrick Beverly, and their big 3 score with the best of them. They take and make the most threes in the NBA. I do think there is a level for the Grizzlies, though, that it can be controlled. Because to this point in the season, you talk about that 2-2 record that the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves have this year. Both times that each team was playing at home, they won. The Timberwolves have yet to see a Grizzlies lineup that actually has Dillon Brooks as a part of it. So I think
he can't wait.
From a scoring perspective, I think the Grizzlies have what it takes with everybody healthy to hold them down in a 7-game series. And I think another guy that could be helpful, DeAnthony Melton on the wing. You got to contest 3-point shots. You got to play good perimeter defense. And I think Dillon Brooks and DeAnthony Melton can be some X factors during the series.
Now, we've talked about rest versus rust. It's been greatly gone into by everybody. But for the Grizzlies, Saturday's the first time the Grizzlies really needed to win in a while.
Yeah. But at the same time, when they played against the Pelicans, that was a full-speed game. That they were out to win that game. They needed to win that game.
That was a pretty good
for confidence reasons, to be able to get Ja back in the lineup, to get the full lineup in there and win.
But if you'd have lost, it wouldn't have knocked much off of you.
It didn't matter, but I think from inside that locker room, from their mindset,
they got ready.
That was a must-win game. If they would have lost that, the confidence starts to go down the tube before the playoffs, and you don't want that. But I do agree with your overarching sentiment. And rest versus rust, I'm tired of hearing that damn. It's just to be honest with you.
If it was a drinking game, man, I mean, everybody's at the emergency room.
And maybe I'm dumb for this, and I know it's not quite like the NCAA tournament where you have to turn around after like you look at North Carolina, you have to turn around after that big emotional high and play in 2 days. It's not that, for the Timberwolves, but that celebration makes me feel a type of way about where their mindset is. It really does.
It was kind of cute, wasn't it?
Yeah, they have to shift their focus, and you have Pat Beverly after the game saying, I really wanted this one. This was the icing on the cake. This was the cherry on top.
Grown men crying last
It's the play-in. I just sort of wonder where the Timberwolves, were they thinking past the play-in? Were they thinking past that Clippers game into a 7-game series?
I thought the
with
game
Grizzlies?
ops guy was going to hit Queen. We are the champions.
It might have needed to, because
he had it on the board with all the other music in front of him to hit that, don't you?
They were enjoying themselves, but I think there's something to be said. We talk about rest versus rust all the time, but the Timberwolves, that celebration last night doesn't give me a whole bunch of hope that they were thinking into a 2-7
Nothing
matchup.
says Wolves pride like a Tuesday night play-in win.
It's ridiculous. But I think from a personnel standpoint, I think top 3 to top 4, Grizzlies and Timberwolves are very, very comparable. But 4 through 10, who the Grizzlies will be playing from a rotational standpoint, the Grizzlies are better talent-wise, top to bottom.
Okay, I'm not talking about shutting anybody totally down, but of their big 3, who's the one that you need to shave, say, 5 or 6 points off his season average? Just limit this guy to that.
Oof. The obvious answer is Cat, but I think we saw a blueprint for how to deal with Cat. Run a bunch of guys at him and hack him. Make him uncomfortable. Bring the fight to him, and that's what Ty Lue did. And he was awful for it last night. He was not a good player. He
likes to hang around the 3 line.
Honestly, the Timberwolves were better last night with Karl-Anthony Towns off the floor in a lot of ways.
That's true.
I think the guy, based on the experience that the Grizzlies have had with the Timberwolves that you need to shave points off of, D'Angelo Russell. You have to. He is the guy who was the starter. He did all the body. He did all the body work, and then he closed against the Grizzlies in their 2 wins against the Grizzlies. He's the guy that they need to find a way to shave some of those points off, because I think he's averaging upwards of 30 to 35 points against the Grizzlies this year. You can't let him do that.
It's going to be fun. I mentioned yesterday when we were visiting with Drew Hill that I wanted Minnesota just to have that 10th different current Western Conference team come through. We've done our thing with the Clippers. It's gotten a little hackneyed, and I'm looking forward to Minnesota coming in. And the Grizzlies and the T-Wolves share this, a common denominator. Sidney Lowe, once head coach of both of them.
Right, yeah. That's going to come into that. Yeah.
That'll win you a beer.
That really matters. We need to pay attention to that.
He coached the Grizzlies 172 games. Minnesota only had him for 135. Really nice man.
There you go.
Not a great coach.
Another thing, that the reason I'm picking the Grizzlies in 5, and this I think is the overarching reason I'm picking the Grizzlies in 5. I look at some of the things that the Timberwolves do. You look at Cat.
That's a closeout at FedEx Forum. I like that game.
You look at
4-1.
Yeah, you look at Cat last night. Some of the plays he's making, trucking 2 guys in a row and then putting his palms up when he gets a charge.
Yeah, me?
going up for a rebound when he has 5 fouls and knocking Paul George out of the air to get fouled out officially. D'Angelo Russell at the end of that game, and obviously he made a 3 to really put them up by 2, and they took that lead the rest of the way, but. Down the stretch of that game, I think they were up by 3, and he took a just disgusting shot from the free throw line that he missed altogether. I think the Grizzlies are the smarter team by a landslide. I think the Grizzlies make more winning plays than the Timberwolves. Timberwolves play young. The Grizzlies are young, but they don't play young.
I'll say this at the end of this series, regardless how it shakes out, I think it will shake out in the Grizzlies' favor, regardless of the number of games. I hope you're right on 4-1. We'll get Bryant's pick on Friday when we do all the official picks,
right.
and it'll be heated. But this could be the start of these 2 teams running into each other.
I agree.
In some form of playoffs, some different forms of seeding for a long time, and we know that's where rivalries are made.
You know what? And that was sort of like last night to me. Watching that Clippers-Timberwolves game, it was kind of a changing of the guard game, if you will. It was like you have this guy, Paul George, playoff P, this guy who has so much of experience. Ty Lue gets all this credit. You have a bunch of vets on that Clippers team, and the Timberwolves didn't turn it down. They didn't care. They went out there and they won that game in front of their home crowd, and they didn't give a damn about what happened in the past. So I think there's that changing of the guard feel to this series. This is the best young talent in the NBA all coalescing in one series. Now, I think I sort of wonder, what's your feel? Like, the top three for the Timberwolves, you have Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl Anthony Towns. They all score 20 points a game or somewhere around there. Do you think the top three for the Grizzlies is right there with them? Do you think Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Dylan Brooks or Desmond Bane, depending on who you want to be the third guy, you think it's right there?
I think it's Bane, and I think it's every bit of it.
Mm-hmm. Ja Morant, I think without question, I think what makes it up for me is Ja Morant's the best player on the floor in this series. That's what makes it up for me. But I think top to bottom,
Jaren's second best.
I think top to bottom, their three versus the Grizzlies' three, I think there's a debate to be had there. I really do. But let's go ahead and get to a break. We come back. We keep discussing this, and we get to your text on the other side on Sportstime with Gabe and Stats.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's been said that the world always looks brighter from behind a smile. So why not let my friend, Dr. Mehdi Sadeghi, and his friendly staff at the Smile Center Memphis help brighten up your world. The Smile Center is a local family dentistry located in Germantown, specializing in cosmetic crown veneers, teeth whitening, and Invisalign clear braces, all with free consultation and second opinions. New patients are welcome, and if you don't have dental insurance, don't frown. They have an in-office plan to fit your specific needs. Same-day emergency service available as well. Give Mehdi a call, 309-1333, or visit their website at smilecentermemphis.com.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your heating system cleaned? How about a safety inspection? Right now, Conway Service is offering our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system for only $69. That's right, for only $69, we'll come out and perform our 16-point energy-saving Super Tune-Up on your heating system. We'll also include a complete safety inspection using our state-of-the-art camera system, making sure your heating system is safe to operate this winter. Plus, we'll run a carbon monoxide test on your heating system, all for only $69. You can have the peace of mind knowing your heating system is safe and ready for those cold winter nights. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. Call this week, and we'll perform your heating system tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Bon appetit.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Papa was a Rolling Stone, but now I got Rolling Stones in the bezel. Ice. Mama and home all alone, hustling, trying to
back rolling on Sports Time. Again, we have a bunch of Grizzlies and 4 people.
We do.
Very few Grizzlies and 4 people are giving me explanations, though. So, I mean, that's a good sign. That's called fandom right there.
Wave those tags.
But AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Let us know what you think will happen in the Grizzlies Timberwolves series. I know you've sort of been on this train for a while. How much of
January?
How much of a factor, like truly how much of a factor, do you think Patrick Beverley will be in this series? In guarding Ja Morant?
Big, and it's his role. His role is the y'all call him the heel, the bad guy, and he brings it, and he gets rough stuff with you, and that's what he does best. As I said in Not Top Story, he averages 9 points and 4 rebounds. You've got to bring something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I feel like
he's not going off for 32.
I feel like there's a thing with Patrick Beverley. Like last night in a 1-game set where you know. Winner go home or winner gets the 7 seed, how it was last night. I feel like he's very good in that situation. But over a course of a 7-game series, I feel like effectiveness may get lost, and maybe that
could. It could cut both ways.
That's the feel, because I've seen him bother people in series, whether it was with the Rockets, mostly with the Rockets, but I've seen him and the Clippers. I've seen him bother people in a series. He did it last year with Devin Booker. But as that series went on, Devin Booker broke out of that and started to realize, I'm better than this guy. Let me go handle this. And I feel like Ja Morant from start to finish will have a chip on his shoulder about that matchup because of the way Patrick Beverley acts.
Yeah, and he's going to try to deflect pressure off of that big 3, Russell, and the other 2. He's going to try to deflect that. He wants to be the subject of all the scorn from the crowd, and he's going to get it. He's going to get his wish. People are going to be ready for him. And I just have that feeling, if you're sitting down close enough courtside, you will be able to audibly hear. You will be able to hear Dillon Brooks and Ja Morant in games 1 and 2. You're not getting in our head.
Mm-hmm.
You're not affecting us.
Yeah. As our man Peter Edmiston would say, make sure you put a lid on that bucket. Put a lid on that bucket. Don't let them get to you. So look. It's weird though, because I said it at the beginning of the show. I understand who Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, especially D'Angelo Russell, what he's done to the Grizzlies, and Karl Anthony Towns. I understand who they are, but I feel like the X factor for the Timberwolves, what would win them a series, would be Patrick Beverley getting into Ja's head and making him uncomfortable. That's the X factor for them. From start to finish, you'd have to do it.
Because then he would have to live with that until next year.
Now, listen,
again,
and that's what I feel about. I feel like game 1, John may have a little bit of struggles with sort of Patrick Beverley coming out with he's a spark plug. He's a pest. He's going to bother you game 1. He's going to have all that energy that's pent up from this Clippers win, all that emotion. Game 1 will tell us a lot about what we need to know about that matchup. Because I feel like eventually, even if he does get to Ja in game 1, I feel like that tends to fade with Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley has done a good job of making his mark in this league, of being a defensive pest. He's done a great job of that. Overcome a lot. G League, wasn't thought of as an NBA guy, but at the same time,
Arkansas was that role.
At the same time, though, like he's just not that talented of a player. That's just the truth of the matter.
But his calling card is bringing the energy, bringing the fight,
and he does that. He does that.
And
better than
that's
anybody.
That's how he's been able to get in the league, stay in the league, make a lot of money, and contribute on some teams. But we can't get distracted by it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
fans, media are for sure the combatants.
Now, AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. We have an hour left in the show. If you want to keep getting in your predictions on the Grizzlies-Timberwolves series, let us know. We have a few already coming in. We have a bunch of people saying Grizzlies in 4. We have one from Jay that says Grizzlies in 4. They have too much depth. Somebody says, and this is from Bill, Grizzlies in 6. It'll be tough, but not tough enough. Another person chimes in, T-Wolves in 7. That's an interesting one. It's the
one
only
in
one
every
we
crowd,
have.
isn't it?
And this person says they showed me something last night. Okay. I guess
That means
so.
Minnesota in 7. That means they win it at FedEx Forum, and that would be a big pin to the balloon for the year if that was the case.
I guess so. I wonder what the reaction would be from a fan base perspective, how you go forward with that. Also, somebody says, Grizz in 7, T-Wolves showed me a little bit last night. They can score. They sure can. They really can score. But you have to neutralize somebody. Clippers tried to neutralize Cat last night. Grizzlies have had struggles with D'Angelo Russell. That's the guy I think they need to pick out of a crowd to make sure he doesn't go off. But that's one thing the Timberwolves can do. Since the turn of the calendar, since the beginning of the year, since January 1, they have been the best offensive team in the NBA. Does that come with certain mistakes? Do they turn the ball over a lot? Yes. But they take and make the most threes, and they score the most points. So certainly going to be a challenge for the Grizzlies, but I think they can get it done in 5. Now, that'll do it for hour number 2. Hour number 3 on the way, and we start it right here. We talk some NBA. We break down the Western Conference with our man from CBS Sports, Colin Ward-Henninger.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's has been serving the Mid-South for over 60 years, and we want to say thank you to our customers. Without your referrals and repeated business, we would not be in business as long as we have been. We promise to continue to run our company with dignity and quality service that we have for all these years. Those who do not use us, we invite you to take advantage of our $60 spring AC tune-up, which includes washing out the dirt in your condenser coils, checking your refrigerant pressures, checking your electrical components, and replacing customer-provided filters. Keeping your AC system maintained can reduce your heating and cooling utility bills by as much as 30% and also help reduce unwanted breakdowns by as much as 80%. Just like maintaining your vehicle, your HVAC system needs to be serviced routinely to work at its best. Call Choates today at 347-8086 or visit our website at choateshvac.com to schedule your $60 AC tune-up. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Look, I know you're hungry for amazing fajitas, and Los Cabos has got them. Los Cabos Bar and Grill with their giant baked potato fajita. It's stuffed with either chicken or steak and smothered with cheese. Or try Los Cabos classic steak fajita burrito. And if you're in need of the largest selection of premium tequilas in Memphis, then Los Cabos is your destination. You got happy hour 2 to 8 daily. And if you need a place to watch any game or just have a date night, then get yourself to one of Los Cabos locations. 6600 Stage Road, 2037 Exeter Road, 6542 Quince, and coming soon to South Haven at 3964 Goodman Road.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. As we all know, Memphis can be a hotbed for severe weather, and that weather can play havoc on our roofs. Most people don't know what they should do first when they're concerned about the condition of their roof. Call their insurance company, call a contractor, or trust a door-to-door salesman that's making claims that are hard to believe. My advice would be call the contractor that you know and trust. If you don't know any, research your local contractors and give 2 or 3 a call. I hope your research will lead you to us. Have your roof inspected, decide for yourself what you should do, and whether or not you should file a claim with your insurance company. It's your home, it's your policy, and it's your money. Don't let anyone pressure you into anything. If you give Five Ash Roofing a call, we promise personal service with a member of our family with no pressure and no hype. Five Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Crossroad Motors, located in Olive Branch, is not a typical dealership. They only sell late model trucks and Jeeps. Many of their vehicles have already been lifted with new off-road wheels and tires. Not in the market for a new vehicle? Let them customize yours the way you want it. They install lifts, levels, off-road tires, wheels, and much more. 90 days, same as cash on all customizations or extended financing. Buy one of their vehicles or let them build yours. Check their vehicles on Facebook. Search Crossroad Motors Olive Branch or call 901-545-5190. Look different, drive different.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Make them drive the car. Make them touch it. Feel it.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Yeah.
Final hour of the day and a lot of NBA talk, and there's going to be a lot of NBA talk around here right up to around the 4th of July. We hope for sure into middle and late June with the Grizzlies going deep into the playoffs. We get to that NBA talk after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's our friends at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. All the cars test driven, all thoroughly examined, checked out bumper to bumper, head to toe, and all points in between. Unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car that you want just for you. You walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment, the anti-high-pressure sales. But they care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. You walk in, within 45 minutes, you find that car you want, test drive it, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's a guarantee. They know we live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they want you to have that ultimate car experience. They keep it simple for you at DeSoto Auto Sales, 662-890-7184 at 5704 Goodman Road, and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Come on down to DeSoto County to DeSoto Auto Sales for that town and country experience.
Now, full disclosure, Colin and I have been playing phone tag for months at this point since I got in the new time slot, trying to get him on. At some point, we finally got it done.
Perfect timing.
Colin Ward Hittinger with us at Colin CBS Sports. Colin, what's happening, man? What you been doing? We haven't caught up in a while.
Look, man, I promise I haven't been ducking you already. The NBA season is grueling. There's a lot going on. I'm at Warriors games, and occasionally I do like to take a day off here and there, but I'm glad I could finally make it. Glad we could connect.
For sure, absolutely. Now, you mentioned you're out there on the left coast. You're very close to where the Warriors play at Oracle. I believe it's still Oracle. You could correct me on that. I think it is. But what have you thought of what the Grizzlies have done to this point in the season? What have you made of this meteoric rise this year?
Well, the Warriors actually play in Chase Center, but a lot of fans out here wish they still played in Oracle Arena, given the level of noise that took place in Oakland compared to San Francisco. But the Grizzlies have been, I don't know anyone who saw this coming. Last year they were already ahead of schedule and what was supposed to be kind of a rebuilding year, seeing what they had with all this young talent. They go ahead and make the playoffs, look pretty good in the first round. And then this year, I think everyone was expecting, maybe a little more of the same. I remember that Jonas Valanciunas got traded for Steven Adams. And everybody's like, that's going to be a huge blow. He was such an important part of their team. And what do? They go out and have the second best record in the NBA. It all comes down to Ja Morant for me. The guy is just an absolute superstar. I think he took all that momentum from last year's playoff run where he performed spectacularly into this season. He is the alpha. He is the guy. And then just the depth of that team and the way that Taylor Jenkins has gotten them to perform. They can go 12, 13, 14 deep if they want to, and that has really served them well over the course of a regular season where their guys have been in and out of the lineup. It's one thing a lot of people probably don't realize about them is that they have had to deal with a lot of injuries, COVID stuff, just like everyone else, and they've continued to perform. So just an amazing story. I'm really excited to watch them in the playoffs, especially as one of the favorites as opposed to this kind of scrappy underdog they usually are.
Right, and it really is. They're the hunted now. So with that, what do you think? What do you expect from them in the playoffs? Their style of basketball isn't necessarily one. They're up and down the floor. They get a lot of fast break points, a lot of second chance points. It's not necessarily one that you would think of when you think of playoff basketball. What do you expect them to be able to get done?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think for one, like you said, they are a transition team. I think they had the highest transition percentage of any team in the NBA this year. And just watching the playing games last night, it would just hit me once again how different the playoffs are, right? The Timberwolves play at the fastest pace in the league. You expect this high-scoring affair, and it ends up being a grind-out game. Even the Nets-Cavs game ended up being pretty slow. So you do have that concern. I do think that having a guy like Ja Morant in the half court who's so proficient in the pick and roll, not only in the pick and roll, but also in isolation situations where you always say it, it's a cliche, you need a guy who can go out there and get you a bucket, whether it's you're self-scoring or you're creating for a teammate. And I think that if that transition game is kind of taken out of the equation, it's definitely going to hurt them. But I think having a guy like Morant out there and having shooters around him and Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr. and seeing, that kind of X factor with Dylan Brooks, seeing what he's able to bring, I think they have the pieces to be a proficient half-court offensive team, and even if they didn't necessarily have to do that as much during the regular season because they were so good in transition.
Colin, we love the it feels wide open feeling to these playoffs, both East and West. This is one of those rare years where the East may have a little more intrigue than the West, but there's plenty of intrigue out of the West. Phoenix, I know, is the team to beat, and Colin, I don't mean this as an ugly shot, but I got to see Chris Paul finish it out. He was up 2-0 last year, and he was being hailed as the player, the standing that he has attained through this storied Hall of Fame career. And then it was 4-2 in a blink of an eye, and he once again really didn't have the ribbon around it. I know Phoenix was the runaway 1 seed, but how wide open is it?
It's absolutely wide open, and I love it, just like you do. I mean, this is a league where we saw the Warriors and Cavs play in 4 straight finals, and the Warriors go to 5 straight finals. I mean, we are not used to seeing landscape for the playoffs where really any of the top 4 seeds in either conference could win, and we wouldn't really be that surprised. Like you mentioned, Phoenix, I'm sure they shrug their shoulders and kind of shake their heads when people say that it's wide open because they won 64 games this year. And if that was, the old Warriors or the Lakers with LeBron and AD, everyone would be saying they're the hands-down favorite. Nobody's going to beat them. They're not saying that about Phoenix. And I think part of it is what you mentioned with Chris Paul. You hate to bring up injuries, but almost every postseason something happens to him, and you notice that it tends to happen at important moments. So, out here with the Warriors, they were excited to get the 3 seed because that means they could potentially avoid the Phoenix Suns in the second round, and that just gives Chris Paul more time to get injured. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but it's been the case in the past. So very excited to see the playoffs shake out. And like you mentioned, the East actually had a better record than the West in head-to-head matchups for the first time since, I think, 1999 or something like that. So the East is definitely there. Boston looks great. Milwaukee's the defending champions. Miami just fooled around and got the number 1 seed without even really having a lot of their guys. So it's going to be a tremendous playoffs. I'm really excited. I think Phoenix probably is the favorite. But, Milwaukee's right there for me in terms of my championship picks.
So you are right out there by the Chase Center. I had to correct myself. What do you think about the Warriors heading into this playoffs? I know that you have Steph Curry right now. He's undetermined right this second for game 1 of their series against the Nuggets. Do you think they can recapture what they had?
it's been such a weird season for the Warriors. Mediocre, moderate expectations heading into the season. People thought, maybe a 4 or 5 seed. I think some, experts had them not even making the playoffs. And then they come out and just absolutely destroy the league for the first month or so. Draymond Green gets hurt, and it's been starts and stops since then. They've looked really bad for stretches. They've looked really good for stretches. I absolutely believe that they can recapture that magic if Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson all stay healthy. And at this point, that is just such a massive if that it's hard to say that that's going to happen. I think you're talking about the Phoenix Suns. I think the fully formed Warriors, no offense, Memphis, I think the fully formed Warriors are the biggest threat to Phoenix in the West right now, just because of that kind of corporate knowledge. They've been there before. They've won championships. Those 3 guys, even though they haven't played together, Klay, Steph, and Draymond, haven't played together in a long time, they have all that kind of ingrained chemistry that you need in a playoff series. So I absolutely think they can recapture that, but we need to see what's going on with Steph, and we need to see if Draymond and Klay can stay healthy through a series, which is a big if.
Right.
In terms of the Nuggets, playing against Nikola Jokic couldn't be a worse matchup for the Warriors. They do really poorly against good centers. Jokic has put up some absolutely monster numbers this season against them. I expect that to continue. But if all those guys are healthy for Golden State, I think the sum of their parts are going to be greater than what Jokic is able to do basically by himself in a playoff series.
4 series start on Saturday, Colin. The Jazz at the Mavericks, Timberwolves in Memphis against the Grizzlies, Raptors against Philly, and Nuggets against the Warriors. I think, you correct me if you disagree, or you jump in if you disagree. I think the most shocking over 7-game upset would be Timberwolves over Grizzlies. I would not be shocked if the Nuggets prevailed over Golden State. Your thoughts?
I think you're right. I think if Steph's healthy, that might be on par with the Timberwolves Grizzlies. But I think most of that comes from the fact that, like we've said, the Grizzlies just haven't been there before. I think once we see them in a game or two, and if they're able to play the way that they played during the regular season, which I expect they will, people will not be as likely to call that an upset. But yeah, I think you're right. The Timberwolves played really well in their playing game. I was surprised, particularly with the way that Karl Towns played in that game, Karl Anthony Towns, fouling out, just being frustrated the entire game, the way that they defended him. For guys like D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Edwards to step up, I think that's a really, really exciting moment for Minnesota, as we saw with Patrick Beverley's over-the-top crazy celebration. I'm curious to hear what you guys in Memphis thought about that. But Minnesota's a tough team. They, again, don't have the experience outside of Beverley, really, so it would be an absolute shock to me if they were able to upset the Grizzlies in the first round.
No, when we talked about the Mavericks earlier in the season, it's Luka, and Kristaps for a while. I thought when they traded him away at the trade deadline, they would be worse for it, but they seem to have been better for it. Do you think out of that 4-5 matchup, Mavs, Jazz, and I know a lot of it has to do with Luka being healthy, do you think either of those teams pose any threat in the Western Conference?
The Mavericks, absolutely. If Luka's healthy, they have unlocked something, like you said, after that Kristaps Porzingis trade. I was in the camp that, whoa, what are they doing? They're kind of bailing on this, this season and trying to figure things out for later. They end up getting Spencer Dinwiddie, who's been excellent for them after just a horrendous, stint in Washington. I really think Dallas has a chance to go deep because of Luka Doncic. You watch that guy play, and he's been playing in championship games since he was 14 years old, and he's a winner throughout his entire career in Europe. He led Slovenia in this incredible run in the Olympics. All he needs is a little bit of help, and it seems like with Jalen Brunson and Dorian Finney-Smith, they've been able to kind of piece together guys around him. And the biggest thing for them is what Jason Kidd has been able to do on the defensive side. This is a team that was just horrible defensively for years, especially with Luka Doncic out there. He's not the best defender. It's difficult, but Jason Kidd's been able to figure something out there defensively. And if they can continue that with having Luka, who's probably going to be the best player on the floor in a lot of their matchups, I think they can go pretty deep. Utah, we don't need to talk about Utah. Right. Blowing 20-point leads in the fourth quarter. I love Donovan Mitchell, but I just don't trust that team.
And it seems like, and I know last year, you can have the conversation about their championship time being open, that window being open. If it was at all, it feels like it closed really, really quickly.
I don't know what to say about Utah. They're a team that I look at. I think I picked them to get the 1 seed this year. I just thought, they've got this kind of formula where everything works, particularly in the regular season. They've had trouble in the playoffs, but Donovan Mitchell's really young. You see teams like this that have high seeds and struggle in the first couple of years, and then their guys kind of figure it out. It seems like at least in the regular season, things have gone the opposite way for Utah, and a lot of that is the Gobert-Mitchell kind of dynamic, where they don't necessarily get along. But look, we've seen plenty of superstars, stars who don't get along in the league and still perform on the court. When you're blowing 20-point leads left and right in the fourth quarter, there is something wrong with your team, either, with the coaching or the chemistry, whatever's going on. This team is not together, and it happened at the worst possible time, right heading into the playoffs. So I don't know what they do if they have a quick exit, which it seems like they might, unless Luka Doncic is unable to play. You have to think they might look into at least trading one of those guys, Mitchell or Gobert. But it's kind of sad to see. The Jazz were this homegrown, up-and-coming team, and now it looks like they're kind of stalled out. So it'll be interesting to see what they look like in the first round.
Talking with Colin Ward-Henninger at Colin CBS Sports. In the East, I saw the last game of the season, last couple games of the season. It seemed like the Bucks kind of ducked the smoke from the Nets, or at least that was the thought. And the Celtics did not duck the smoke. Won their final game against the Grizzlies, got that 2 seed. What do you think about the Nets heading into the playoffs? Do you think even with that 7 seed and what they're going to have to overcome to be able to make a finals run, do you think they can make that finals run?
Personally, I don't. I mean, it's hard for me to say that when you watch what Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are able to do, but the pieces around them just aren't there. I know Bruce Brown has played great, but if he's your third option on offense, I think you have some problems. And a team like Boston, which is just a dominant defensive team. I mean, they ended up number 1 in the league, but if you look, after January 1st or February 1st, whatever it was when they started going on their run, they are head and shoulders above the rest of the league defensively. They have the pieces, they have the length, they have the strength, they have the size. I know they're not going to have Robert Williams, which is going to be a big deal for them, I think. But I think they have enough to at least kind of, not put the clamps on Durant and Irving, but at least, hold them down enough to force other people to have to perform. And if that's the case, I just don't think the Nets have enough. And then if you look at them defensively, all of the toll and the load that Kevin Durant has to carry offensively, he has to do that same thing defensively. You watch him, I mean, it happened throughout the season, but you watch him in that playing game, he's out there blocking shots, he's switching, he's covering pick and rolls. That is going to drain him over the course of a 7-game series against a team as good as the Celtics. So I understand that teams would not want to play the Nets in the first round, but I also understand that Boston is confident in what they've become, and they weren't afraid to face the Nets in the first round.
So if you're right, and we're talking about the Nets sort of getting maybe ousted in the first round, how do we talk about them this offseason? It's an abject, over the first 2 years of this experiment, an abject failure.
Absolutely a failure for, the big 3 Nets. But if you're a Nets fan or you're in the organization, you say, look, next year we're going to have Kyrie Irving for, potentially every game. He's probably going to get injured, but in theory, every game. We saw Kevin Durant, who's arguably the best offensive player in the league and one of the best of all time, not showing any signs of slowing. And then we have Ben Simmons coming off the, whatever injured and inactive list you want to call. We'll see if he plays in this postseason, but you're definitely going to have him coming in next season, hopefully healthy and strong to shore up your defense. And then you get Joe Harris back, a guy who really is necessary on this team. I'm talking about Bruce Brown or Steph Curry being your third option. Joe Harris is essential to stretch that defense on the offensive side. So I think there's reason for optimism in Brooklyn, even if they do get ousted in the first round. And there's they have every reason to be confident heading into next season as long as Durant and Irving and Simmons are healthy.
Colin, I promise you with this next question, I am not leading the witness trying to make you play for a hometown answer. I am not, okay? Because we want you back because we love Gabe and I are both telling each other, great guest, off the charts, great guest. So 3 years ago, Nick Nurse was the breakout coach. He wins it all. You become more than just the breakout coach. Who is that coach this year in these playoffs that in 3 years we could be looking at one of the esteemed figures in the league?
I know you're not trying to lead me, but come on. There's only one answer, right? It's
Right.
got to be Taylor Jenkins. I mean, you look
It
at a
could
guy
be
like
the
Monty
opponent
Williams,
in
right?
Minnesota.
Yeah, he's good. Chris Finch is really good, too. But I don't think they'll be at the level that Minnesota's at, or that Memphis is at, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, you look at Taylor Jenkins, what he's been able to do in such a short period of time. A guy like Monty Williams comes to mind, but he's been around the league for so long. I don't think anyone's going to really consider him to be a breakout coach. He's been a head coach before. So, yeah, I mean, it's got to be Jenkins, I think. Willie Green is another guy in New Orleans who we could look at. If you think about what he's been able to do with that team, they added C.J. McCollum, and now they potentially get Dyron Williamson back next year. That's going to be a team to watch. I think he's done a tremendous job there. But really, it's Jenkins, and there's a guy that's going to be up for Coach of the Year. He'll probably lose to Monty Williams, I would assume. But being second, and there's so many deserving coaches. To do what he's done with that group, with one of the youngest rosters in the league, such confidence, such swagger, such just calmness out there on the floor. I just absolutely love what he's done, and I would not be surprised if in 3 years he's already had a Coach of the Year trophy or is seeking one.
Last couple of things for you. It's interesting, too, because we're starting the playoffs, and the team that's omitted is a LeBron James team. I mean, the most losses a LeBron James team has ever taken in 49. Where do the Lakers go this offseason? What can they do with a Russell Westbrook contract? Or is there anything they can do, or do they just sort of have to run it back?
Man, we could really spend hours getting into this, but it's not good in Los Angeles. The good news is you still have LeBron James, and he proved that he is not showing any signs of slowing, basically almost led the league in scoring this year. And if Anthony Davis is healthy, blah, 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 we all know that. They need to get rid of Russell Westbrook. The most obvious trade is the one that they didn't do at the trade deadline, which is sending him to Houston for John Wall.
Yep.
Houston is going to want some sort of, draft compensation along with that, which it sounds like they're not willing to do. But now that Russell Westbrook's contract will be expiring, that opens up a lot of options for them. So we have a colleague named Sam Quinn who did a very exhaustive Lakers kind of where do they go from here story on CBSSports.com. But he essentially said you need to stop thinking about this as a Russell Westbrook trade, right? The team that's getting Russell Westbrook isn't doing this trade so that they get him. They're doing it so that they can offload future salary. So you look at a team like the Knicks with Julius Randle, or another team that has a contract that they don't necessarily want. Those are the types of deals you're probably going to be looking at. And then if Westbrook does get traded, he might be looking at a buyout situation or something like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That's a ton of money, a huge salary to move. So it's not going to be easy, but it's clear that whatever experiment they were going for with the Lakers this year did not work with Russell Westbrook, and they completely need to retool their supporting cast this offseason.
Colin, we appreciate your time, but one more thing. Who's your MVP?
Oh, God. I think you just throw this in at the end like it's some easy question. I wrote a whole story about how these MVP conversations and debates really need to take a step back, and we need to decide what the word valuable means.
Right.
How can we argue if everybody has a different definition of valuable? I go with Jokic. That is mostly for me from the eye test. When he has the ball, I just trust him to make the right play. As great as Joel Embiid is, as great as Giannis is, I can't think of one player who I would rather have offensively than Nikola Jokic. Obviously, defensively comes into it, but for me, they needed him more than the other teams needed their guys. So,
and keeping that team afloat with your second option, basically Will Barton the entire year, that means something to me. That means something to me in the grand scheme of things. But Colin,
absolutely
appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us. Let's do it again soon.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
You have a good one. At Colin, CBS Sports.
Ooh, Colin was great, and he is right. I promise you, I wasn't walking him into that. And as we were discussing with Colin on SportsCenter, L. Duncan was interviewing Chris Finch of the Timberwolves, and the bottom third, Chiron said, teams meet on Saturday on ESPN at 3:30 Eastern Time, split season series 2-2, with the T-Wolves winning when both teams were healthy by 43. So if that's their cause, bring it on.
I hear you.
And I say bring it on for the playoffs. So much national media be in town. They'll be wanting to find our good Memphis barbecue, and I got two great places for them. Either the new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Go back to the early 80s at the original where Walker Taylor started this great team, and he started there in 1981, and that's where they developed, which is a staple now at all things Memphis sports, the barbecue nachos. We are as known for that as much as anything in the sports world. Those two great locations, you'll find that Memphis-style barbecue and ribs, authentic Memphis-style great food. Start that feast with those barbecue nachos, invented in the early 80s. And everybody enjoying them. The great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales, the smoked chicken wings, all that for entrees. All that for appetizers. It also could be your entree. And if you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary to 33733. We get this round of weather out and we settle in. We're going to get out on the patio at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, and that's where they're going to have live music for a lot of nights during the summer. Dig into the ribs or the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a sandwich, on the plate, all the fixings, deviled eggs, bread, slaw. And you can even order by the pound, a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack, and save room for dessert. Quite the challenge, but worth it. Best lemon icebox pie I've ever had anywhere, and the terrific banana pudding. 901-754-5540. Online at commissarybbq.com. In Collierville and Germantown, in those party areas, we can get out there Saturday afternoon for the Grizzlies playoff game. The new Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown.
So looks like the weather just reached our studios here. Make sure you guys are staying safe out there. We have thunderstorm warnings. We have a tornado watch in the area through the night. Everybody stay safe. If you're on the road and it gets to be a little too much, try to pull over, try to get home, try to be inside, and take care of yourself because it's going to be a rough night from a weather perspective. When we come back, have a lot to get to with the last 30 minutes of our show. Have some NFL news to get to. One, Derek Carr just made generational wealth. 3 years, $121.5 million. We'll break that down when we come back. Also, another quarterback in the NFL, complete opposite of Derek Carr. He feels disrespected. That's Baker Mayfield. We talk about that on Sportstime. We gave him stats.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You don't have to visit the coast for fresh seafood. Catch the coast in Memphis at the Great Hunter Crab, 8325 Highway 64 next to the Wolf Chase Mall. Great Hunter Crab is a Cajun seafood restaurant specializing in the freshest seafood. Their unique blend of spices and sauces pairs perfectly with fish, shrimp, lobster, scallops, and crabs. Not a seafood lover? Try the soup, salads, catfish, and chicken. Great Hunter Crab open Monday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and even catering. Try the signature drinks like the Lost at Sea or the Shipwreck. Visit the coast today. Great Hunter Crab, 8325 Highway 64 next to the Wolf Chase Mall.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Who's ready to spring clean and save some green?
Hunter Johnston
And Colin Johnston here from DeSoto Auto Sales.
This month, we're on a mission
to help you cash in when you clean out your garage.
So stop making payments on a car that's ruining your life.
Because you could clean up in a nicer, newer car.
And possibly lower your monthly payment in the process.
It's out with the old and in with the new.
Only during our Spring Clean and Save Some Green sales event.
So dust off that old ride you hate driving.
And trade up when you bring it in today.
Because you could drive a nicer, newer car.
And possibly lower your monthly payment in the process.
Plus, our For the People credit approval process could be the fresh start you need.
So let's spring clean and save some green.
You could save up to $4,000 on a nicer, newer car, depending on the car you choose.
I'm Hunter.
And I'm Colin. And we're your dealers for the people.
See all my rides at DeSotoAutoSales.com.
That's DeSotoAutoSales.com.
Credit requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Vehicle purchase price determines an actual discount. Offer absolutely expires on April 30th, 2022.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5. And Brett Norsworthy.
My nail tech knows how to keep it a little secret. I don't wish for my success, I speak it. I caught a buzz and you did too, but you tweaking. I look like I've been getting money, how reeking. You smell me, that's LV. Walk around with my chest out of my skin.
About 30 minutes left. This Wednesday edition of Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe Kuhn, Brett Stats, Norsworthy with you. Autos on listener line 901-360-8255. Hit us up before we're out of here. Let us know questions, comments, concerns on anything we've talked about today. A lot of Grizzlies, talked some DeAndre Williams, bunch of things. Hit us up. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Also, message us, watch us on our social, Sports 56 WHBQ, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. In the NFL today, we have a lot of quarterback news going around. We're going to play a sound from Baker Mayfield in just a moment. But the big contract news of the day, Derek Carr gets extended. Obviously, the Las Vegas Raiders quarterback, 3 years, $121.5 million, valuation of $40.5 million a year. Brett, it makes him the 5th highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
It's the market. They're committed. Obviously, they're committed to him. And I think in that division next year, the Chiefs are going to move aside. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. And the Chiefs, here's the big thing about them. They better capitalize with their 2 picks in the first round. They better capitalize with their top, 4 picks in the top 64. They have to make sure they go replace a guy like Tyreek Hill. They have to do things to make their team better in the draft. He could be 4th in the quarterback list of that division.
Yes. I think that's a possibility. I would put him slightly ahead of Derek Carr, although not that far ahead of Derek Carr at the moment. But
for 2022 opening day, not meritorious service, not what he's done. But for 2022, I think I would rather go into the year with Carr.
There's a lot of people
and the Raiders pieces.
Yes, there's a lot of people out there having a discussion right now about Derek Carr and sort of talking about him as if he's a lower rate quarterback and he's getting overpaid. In the grand scheme of things, he's earned every bit of this contract. It's not a record-breaking contract. It's not over Patrick Mahomes, Josh. It's not that type of contract. It's 5th most. So there are going to be people past him. He'll fall in line. It will fall in line with the valuation.
That's like the Mike Conley money a few years ago.
But again,
it's the market.
It's the market, and the valuation, time will take care of it. But you can go look right now at his stats over the years. I mean, he has been relatively steady. He's had some injuries he's had to deal with, turbulent times organizationally with the Raiders, dealing with I'm not just talking John Gruden and everything that happened last year.
The move.
I'm talking about the move from Oakland to Las Vegas. He had to deal with a lot of
Mark
that.
Davis.
And I think he's done a heck of a job. You look over his career, 193 to 85 TD to INT. He's led them to 2 playoff appearances appearances. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He's done everything that's been expected of him, and I think more in the grand scheme. When you pick a quarterback when he was picked, that's what you expect out of a guy, and he's
almost. He's almost. Now they've been better as a team than this example. I'm kind of digging for, but it's a little bit like Stafford stuck in Detroit.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, even through all the turbulent times with the Raiders, I think the Lions organization is substantially worse.
Well,
so it's been easier. But I think moving forward, what he did last year, going 10-7 with the pieces around him, he's throwing to Hunter Renfrow, Zay Jones, guys like that.
Was right there in that Bengals playoff game.
Yeah, and now, and he could, honestly, at the end, he drove down, had a chance to take a shot at the end zone at the end, did all he could. But now you throw Devontae Adams in that mix with what Hunter Renfrow's coming off of.
They're old college teammates at Fresno.
With what Hunter Renfrow's coming off of, I understand fully the Las Vegas Raiders thought process here.
And
it makes a whole lot of
end.
sense. Yes, and Darren Waller goes without saying. I mean, he's been ridiculous. He's been insane. And also,
Denver could come in fourth.
People also no, it's weird. People seem to forget that Derek Carr. When was it? It would have been 2016 when they were good, when they were real good. 2016, he was up there top 5 in MVP voting. He was Offensive Player of the Year candidate that year. Derek Carr's a good quarterback, and he's showed his value over his years. Good to see him get that money. Now, on to our good friend Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield went on a podcast with our man Mike Stud. Do you know who Mike Stud is, by the way, Brian Davis? Do you know Mike Stud?
I don't know if I'm familiar with
Mike Stud. Mike Stud had his moment for like about a year when I was coming up in high school. But Mike Stud was a former baseball player at Duke, yada, yada, yada. Became a rapper, was a white rapper. And now he has a podcast. He had Baker Mayfield.
Not familiar with the Stud guy.
Yeah.
I'm not either. You didn't even ask me if I was familiar with him. You just knew I wasn't familiar with him, right?
I absolutely knew, Brett.
You were right.
But he was on Baker Mayfield was on Mike Stud's podcast, and this is what he had to say about his experience with the Browns.
Right now is like I really, truly, honestly have no regrets of my time in Cleveland, of what I tried to give to that place.
Right.
And true Clevelanders and true Browns fans know that, and that's why I can walk away from the whole situation feeling like I did it.
And now, do you feel like the way the office has handled it has been disrespectful to you, given where you came in and where they are now? And
I mean, yeah, the respect thing is like it's all going to be like a personal opinion.
Yeah,
like,
and
I feel disrespected 100% because I was told one thing and they completely did another. That's what I'm in the middle of right now. And you know what? Okay, I got my taste of it because I've had 4 different head coaches in 4 years, a bunch of different coordinators. I've had talk about the highs. They always come back.
Mm-hmm.
They always come back.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I had great times my rookie year. Like I didn't start in the beginning. I came in and got to have fun the back half of the year. 2019 sucked. 2020 was great. Made the playoffs. 2021 was miserable. It's like,
yeah.
I'm just looking for stabilization right now, and like I know what I need to do for me to be the best version of me, and to be able to lead an organization. And like
now,
I'm in a good place right now.
I listen. Baker Mayfield feels disrespected. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand. I get why you have taken this franchise seemingly to new heights that they haven't been to in a long time. You've been the longest lasting quarterback, and it feels like ever. But since the 21st century hit, you're the longest tenured quarterback that they've ever had. You've given a lot to the organization. You've had a bunch of different coaches. They've been unstable. You've been trying to stabilize it. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get all of those points. But Brett, his play has made him expendable. What he's done on the field has made him an expendable piece, and they had to move out. They're in a win-now situation. They have all of the pieces they need to win a Super Bowl, and he wasn't getting it done.
That's it. He is right. The first comments he made, he's right. He did it. He took a team the year before that he got there. They were 0-16. 2 years before that, 1-15. 3 years before that, 3-13. So that's a smooth 4-44 before he gets there. 7-8-1, 6-10, 11-5, 8-9. But that was as far as he was getting it.
Yes,
and they knew it.
And the win totals don't – the win totals and the playoff experience and the playoff win don't show that Baker Mayfield was the only thing that happened to that team. Their defense improved drastically. They went and got Myles Garrett. They've bolstered everything. They have the best O-line that money could buy. They did everything they could. On the outside even, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., they signed like 15 different tight ends. They got Austin Hooper, David Njoku, Nick Chubb. They went and signed Kareem Hunt. They bought you everything. They bought everything. You couldn't ask for more as Baker Mayfield, and you still couldn't get it done. And I think within the way that offense worked too, Brett, if you watched him last year and even the year before that when he had a decent year and they got to the playoffs and won a playoff game, he wasn't asked to do a lot either. It was turnaround, hand
wasn't
it
going
off.
down the field with it.
Yeah, it was turnaround, hand it off to this guy, play action, and you have guys running wide open, and he consistently and often missed the target, and that's just what it was. So
he did play hurt. He was valiant. He was a warrior, but they came to the conclusion of, thank you, but we think we can do better. Now we'll see if they can.
Think about
if they have.
Remember the conversations before this year about they were talking about Lamar Jackson getting his contract, which eventually will happen. Although Lamar has to come to the table and talk to the GM and everybody else in the front office of the Ravens. But they were talking about Baker Mayfield being next in line for an extension. This year completely put that to rest. Completely put it to rest. And
he was in line, but he jumped out of line.
And let me bounce this idea off you. I think there is with Baker Mayfield, Heisman and number 1 overall pick will never wear off in Baker Mayfield's head. That's who Baker Mayfield thinks he is. That's who he is. But we've come a long way, and once you get into that franchise, once you get into a organization, you have to continue to keep up that level of production, and he didn't.
And that is worth a lot to him. It's not to the Browns management. It's not to that locker room. Now, it is worth a lot to him, and it'll even mean more when he's 40 and 50
still got
and
that.
gets older. He's always going to be there.
But your playing career, you have to
but
show
the
it
Cleveland
on the field.
Browns want him doing it now.
Yes.
They wanted him doing it last year.
Yes.
I mean, they don't really care what he did at OU now.
When I see Baker Mayfield, I see a guy that is learning the absolute.
Kyler Murray's going to learn that.
I see a guy that's learning the absolute hard way that the business of the NFL doesn't give a damn about your feelings. It doesn't care if it disrespects you. It's cutthroat. And if you do
Ask Drew Bledsoe.
If you do not live up to the expectation that was set for you, you're expendable. And that's what's become.
Carson Wentz, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, getting ready to happen. I mean, after this coming season, it's going to happen in Nashville to Ryan Tannehill. You can be used up and spit out.
And Brett, I hate to think about this, and it's tough to say right now what's going to happen with him. And I think a lot of teams find value in him because he's not going to be a 1-year rental with the contract he has now, and then you can move forward. And if you want to sign him, you can sign him. But it's hard for me to imagine him ever recapturing the power he had in that Browns organization right now. Because of the teams out there right now that need a quarterback.
Yeah, he'll play for a bunch of teams the rest of the way.
Yeah, but you think about teams that need a quarterback like Seahawks. Where are they going with their franchise? How much longer is Pete Carroll going to be there? Texans, a poorly run franchise that
New Orleans
sort of put themselves in a bad position. Does New Orleans want him? Does New Orleans want to do that? They've already tied themselves to Jameis Winston, who I think last year while he was playing did more, looked better. It's hard to think about where Baker Mayfield's career goes from here, but hopefully he can try to recapture it. Now, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back from said break, we'll put a wrap on this Wednesday edition of Sports Time with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Get your afternoon started with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sang and Sports 56 Grind Time. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time for another season of golf at Miramichi. You know the spot, 15 minutes north of downtown in Woodstock. I call it heaven. It's 330 acres of natural beauty, 7,400 yards of championship-level golf, but there are several different tee boxes which make it fun or competitive for every level of golf. And the practice facilities are as good as any country club, and every round of golf comes with a cart and complimentary range balls. You can really improve your game, and you'll love the prices too. Seniors can play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for as low as $33. Again, the golf cart and the range balls are thrown in. The standard weekday rates are as low as $44. Friday, it's $50, and on Sunday, it's $55. You'll love the view from the terrace. You look out and see the best view in all of Shelby County. The whole experience, it's just fantastic. Go check it out yourself at Miramichi.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your heating system cleaned? How about a safety inspection? Right now, Conway Service is offering our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system for only $69. That's right, for only $69, we'll come out and perform our 16-point energy-saving Super Tune-Up on your heating system. We'll also include a complete safety inspection using our state-of-the-art camera system, making sure your heating system is safe to operate this winter. Plus, we'll run a carbon monoxide test on your heating system, all for only $69. You can have the peace of mind knowing your heating system is safe and ready for those cold winter nights. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. Call this week and we'll perform your heating system tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
This is a damn fine automobile, if you want my honest opinion.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
There's a set going strong, a lot of things going on.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The Double Steak Grilled Cheese Burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The Double Steak Grilled Cheese Burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, I didn't really learn this today, but it really it came to fruition. It certainly was confirmed. The Rock and the XFL, The Rock is such a good businessman. You look at all the different things he did today on ESPN discussing the XFL. They did announce their head coaches. They have Wade Phillips, Bob Stoops. Big game Bob Stoops. Terrell Buckley, Hines Ward is going to coach. Rod Woodson.
Love Terrell Buckley.
Reggie
Been at Ole
Barlow,
Miss the last few
Anthony
years.
Becht, and Jim Haslett will be the coaches. He hired Dean Blandino as the vice president. And Dean Blandino, for those that don't know, was the NFL rules analyst for Fox Sports.
He'll be in trouble on the bus with Jerry Jones, remember?
But, yeah, he'll be the vice president of officiating and playing rules innovation. But also this. He reaches a deal, and many thought this couldn't be done. Many thought that this was going to be impossible. But he reaches a deal with the NFL Alumni Academy to scout and train potential players. The NFL Alumni Academy is one of several groups that provides training and conditioning work to unemployed players. And the idea of the Alumni Academy is to create a pool using the XFL for NFL teams who need injury replacements or otherwise are seeking to address depth on their rosters. And it kind of stinks because a lot of my good friends playing in the USFL. You got Joey Magnifico, Brady White, Paxton Lynch, all playing in the USFL this weekend on Saturday. But the XFL is certainly taking the cake, and it looks like it could be relatively successful under the Rock's leadership.
Seriously, though, as much as we love football, how much are we going to watch this weekend with everything going on here and in the NBA playoffs, baseball, Hilton Head? How much are we going to watch?
Every game.
We're going to make picks
Every
on Friday.
play.
What are we
Yeah,
talking
we
about?
are. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do they count?
Michigan Panthers
Yes.
-3 versus the – what's another team name?
Do
we know? I'm
Birmingham
sure,
Stallions.
I'm sure we have the first game.
Yeah, well,
the
I'm
first
see if I
week
can find them.
matchups.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get those for us, Brian, please.
We kind of
I'm
need to
working
know
on
who's
it.
playing before we can make picks.
If we're going to make picks.
I learned the playoff schedule is set for first-round home games at FedEx Forum. Saturday starts at 2:30. Then Tuesday night, April 19th, to be determined. Game 5, if necessary, April 26th. Game 7, if necessary, will be Sunday, May 1st. Grizzlies a 7-point favorite. Why are people so nervous about this series and on Saturday?
But, I mean, come on.
I'm not at all.
I think they're less and less nervous. I think a lot of people in this city are trying to be more confident. But let's be real. You haven't seen the Grizzlies in this hunted position before. It's been a long while since the grit and grind era, since Lionel Hollins, since they made the Western Conference Finals, that they've been in this hunted position. So there's going to be nerves, especially in sort of, and I know they made the playoffs last year. I'm not saying they didn't. But in year one of a fully transformative season for this Grizzlies franchise.
Had to get the play-in last year. This year they earned it.
Let me give you some lines for
Let's
this
hear it.
weekend.
Let's do
All right, so you got 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. So Saturday, we're starting off with the New Jersey Generals versus the Birmingham Stallions. Stallions, 2.5-point favorite.
How do they get these lines?
I don't know. Houston Gamblers.
Give me Doug Flutie and the Generals.
Versus the Michigan Panthers.
Right.
Michigan Panthers, 2.5-point favorite.
Give me Bobby Hebert and the Panthers.
Is it all 2.5?
Philadelphia Stars versus the New Orleans Breakers. Breakers, 2.5-point favorite.
2.5.
Give me Chuck Fusina and the Stars.
And finally, to wrap up the weekend, the Tampa Bay Bandits versus the Pittsburgh
Please don't say
Maulers. Tampa Bay -4.5.
Oh, Tampa Bay must be.
Give me
legit.
John Reeves and Gary Anderson and the Tampa Bay Bandits Saturday.
Plus money on that, plus 100 for the -4.5.
Is Steve Spurrier coach at the Bandits like he was yesteryear?
I don't know. It's a good question. Let me look it up.
I bet he's not.
What I could have done without. A couple of things out of the MLB. One, if you haven't been following the Stephen Kwan story, Stephen Kwan plays for the Guardians. He hadn't swung and missed all year until today.
Hit the Kwan.
What in the world?
Hit the what?
Hit the Kwan. We did it for Laquan Treadwell.
Hit the Kwan.
Okay,
That's how
I
I
get
did
it. I get it. Okay.
Love hitting the Kwan.
There's only one way he would have known that.
Yeah.
My gosh.
I forgot about Treadwell.
You threw me off. But Stephen Kwan, who plays for the Guardians, is hitting .667 on the year, has about 6 walks at this
I
point.
bet that average comes down.
But he set a record, 116. He finally swung and missed at a pitch today. 116 pitches without a swing and a miss to start his career. That is the record. And Stephen Kwan, I mean, he's squaring up the ball. He's got a good batter's eye. He looks really good. Also, last night in the Giants-Padres national
That's
TV
where I'm
game
going.
on TBS, San Francisco Giants first base coach Anton Richardson was ejected. Now, the good part of this is that we got to see history made. Her name's escaping me right this second. But we had our first female coach at first base.
And calmer heads prevailed after the game into today.
But our first female coach got to, Alyssa Knockin is her name. Mm-hmm. She got to be a first base coach, first female ever to do that. But Antone Richardson was ejected, and he accused San Diego Padres coach, former Cardinals skipper last year,
former Redbird skipper,
Mike Schilt, of yelling an expletive at him that, quote, reeked undertones of racism. And apparently what Mike Schilt said was, quote, you need to control that MFer. He said you need to control that MFer. Now, you used an expletive. There's no question about it.
Shouldn't be said.
After the fact, Richardson and Schilt talked through it and hugged it out this morning. But I feel like I know Mike Schilt a little bit. I feel like I understand where he comes from.
I promise you, that's what I have written down. I know him a little bit.
That's not his thing. He's not that type of guy.
You don't make it in the game thinking that.
Again,
and
like
it that way.
And if you're going to claim racism, if you're going to do that to a person and put them out there like that, I really feel like you should be more sure about their intentions.
I don't think that should be said, but I don't think that was the intent. And if it is, Gabe, we know that word gets volleyed around sometimes as often as good morning.
I've had people say that word to me when they're not mad, so.
Me too.
Come on. Yeah,
but I probably shouldn't.
Yeah, probably shouldn't. But, yeah, I thought.
It reeks of stupid is what it reeks of.
I thought Antone Richardson, I thought that was a little much.
Stupid.
Little much. Now, did Mike Schilt should not say that, but damn.
In fact, I think I used that word off the air today when I was having trouble getting connected with you guys at the top of the show at 3 o'clock.
You didn't have to admit that.
But
full disclosure.
I appreciate you.
Full disclosure, Brett. I hear you. But looking forward to tonight, we have the play-in games. Have to check those
Good
out.
games.
Have a bunch of MLB games. NHL rolling along, too. We're getting to the playoffs on
Only
May
3
2nd.
games tonight.
On May 2nd, my birthday. Y'all can go ahead and store that in your pocket and have a
we
present
got it
ready
down.
for me on the first day of the NHL playoffs. Now, that's
Hit
all
the Quan.
That's all we have for today. My God, yes, please, let's get out of here. Thanks for joining us, though. Thanks to Alex Kuhn, John Goen, and Colin Ward-Hittinger for their contributions to the show. For Brett, for Brian, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night and be safe. We'll holler at you tomorrow at 3.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you.